Welcome everybody to Azure Grand Assembly, February 2024. It's our first time ever doing this in voice and in a staged channel on Discord. For those on listening to this log later on YouTube, this is Hikaru Kazushime from Azure Infinitum. Today we are hosting our assembly, first time in VC, like I said before, going over a few phases of announcements, and we've got um, three raffles. Three raffles today. We got some really awesome prizes for everybody who is in game with us. If you made it in game and you are present during the announcement phases, no matter what part of this that you pop in, if those here might have to go for a minute and come back later, feel free to do so. If you're in game, you are more than welcome to do content, hang out, play another game, relax, whatever you want to do. Just don't miss out on the raffles if you want to enter. We'll be announcing those, making sure everybody has a chance to get back to the hall in raffle time. If let's stick around the hall the whole time. It's totally up to you. First off, I would definitely want to take a second to welcome our newest members to the community. If you're here joining us first time as an assembly, or hearing my voice for the first time, or if you're new to Azure or whatnot, big welcome to you. We are happy to have you. We always keep our recruitment running. We always want to make sure that we keep our doors open and our community welcoming for all that join us. And those that are looking for a well-rounded, mid-core-ish FC with a good number of events and lots of friendly people and things to do. So our doors are always open, and we're happy to have you. For those that might be a little newer to it, whether you've been active or not, or just kind of poking around in the last couple weeks, I wanted to take a moment as well to reintroduce myself because I have recently made a really pretty big change with my character and my name. So some might be confused whether or not they're like, "Where's Reika?" Especially if you're a longtime member that's been on a break or hasn't maybe checked in a while, but you popped in because we're having this event, or maybe you see it in Discord or YouTube later. Um, and you're like, oh, hey, that's different. That's not the normal assembly I'm used to. Or maybe you just are new and you didn't know that I recently had a different name, and maybe you've been around the internet and you're like, I've seen this on the website, but I don't know who this Hikaru guy is. Well, just real quick here, I wanted to let you guys know that I played Reika for 10 years in 14. 10 whole years, no breaks. No breaks except for maybe a minor break in 2022 when I was moving. And that's a long time to stay dedicated to one character and never Fantasia and never change your style. And I've had the same glam since Heaven's Ward, minus my Stormblood glam. I'd pop in between those two, and I really needed a change. Like it's been a while. Um, it's kind of funny how how it happened, because I was thinking about it for a while, and people were like, "Wow, the timing is impeccable," with Dawn Trail and a whole new era and everything. And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, it kind of fits." And sometimes you just need that like fresh start. So I made a funny like 14 version of me with blue hair, and I love the new look I put on, and just been trying that out, and it's different, but like I've been really connecting with my new character. Sometimes you got to try a few different things, like a new job or playing a new class or something. It can really refresh the game, especially in slow times and when things are kind of slogging along with content, kind of being, So you guys get my drift. People are probably wondering like why Hikaru. Just again, my name comes from a very long time nickname I've had since 2005. So for those that are unaware of Azure's history, actually started a MySpace blog way back when. Wow, MySpace, right? Um, and I called it the Runaround. And back then I was kind of halfway through high school, but I was taking some photography courses, and I was really into sharing like our local events because I've been involved as a volunteer since 2004 in some local like anime pop culture events. And later on, I got into press work and a bunch of other stuff that followed. But I wanted to share stuff that I really loved, and so I took that and made an actual real website based on what I had started. and that website, was kind of off and on for a while, but it shared my hobbies and interests, and some of my press work was documented there for a long time. It's been rebooted a few times, and that was called Runaround Kazu. And the name Kazushime, technically, it fits into Japanese kana, but it is not actually a Japanese word officially. But Hikaru means light or shining, and so that was a nickname I had for a bit during an era of ultra like almost, I'm afraid to say it, but like ultra weebness, from being a 15-year-old, but it stuck, and because everybody kept using my screen names and such. I kept the nickname, and I was like, I need a cool name to go with the last name, and it flowed. So HK has always been my thing. So if you're wondering like why the change, Reika, that's my thing. But Reika is not gone. Reika is definitely within my soul. I have a little bit of lore for fun that I wrote, just to kind of accompany that. Um, as you guys know, sometimes I'm a bit a little bit of an RPer with my character because I like to have fun with things. Who doesn't? Um, but that is the reason for that. So hello again for those that haven't been around in a while or might not recognize, wondering where Reika is. The very first assembly, not hosted by, still hosted by me, but not hosted with Reika present. So, but it's fun, and it is definitely a new, fresh outlook. And like I said, that can be healing sometimes and very rewarding. So. Um, like I said, my original character is still very much involved in our wings, and she might even reappear someday. Who knows? I don't know. But I like the idea of the next 10 years with Dawn Trail and everything that we have to look forward to with 14 and more. Work on our wings. For those that play ESO, there's the Gold Road expansion. There's new stuff for Destiny. There's all kinds of exciting stuff on the horizon. Guild Wars 2 is announcing yearly expansions, and there's like a million amazing things coming up that I'm really excited for. So you will still see some Reika around, but not in 14 at the moment. Maybe not again. I'm not sure. So enough about that. Why this format was chosen, the perks and how this works. I already explained how it works. Real quick. I wanted to let everybody know that for a long time, we're talking going back 10 years, we have had assemblies in game. Now, some people think like, oh, why is this necessary? Or it's just a game or free company, etc. But I want to stress that even though some people will say that or think that, that's a natural thing. There's just nothing bad about coming to that conclusion. But it's important to recognize that, like as an organization or gathered group, it is a good idea to have some kind of meeting established to be able to address our community. We're a little different. Azure kind of flows a different way. Some people have noticed that. Some people, enjoy that. We're kind of unique in that sense. Having a FC meeting is not totally unique. People do that across the world, but the more organized and the more we can present our the stuff that we're working on, the more down to earth we can be and connected with all of you is very important. Whether there's 2 people in this channel or 16 like there is right now, it's important. And then of course all of you listening later to this log online. It's important to us to be able to be as transparent as possible, so that there's no confusion. That way there's no people wondering, oh, I don't know what's going on in this free company because they never talk to us. But we try. We're really pushing VC right now too, but not because we're trying to move away from text at all. No way. We'll never be one of those FCs that moves away from, like, nope, no chat in game, just all VC. Not doing that. We're pushing VC really hard right now because it does bring people together. We do find that like the more folks that hang out in VC together do tend to kind of get to know each other better than just like a hello every time you log in, and that's or minor chats in game or whatever in the FC chat. We just want to try to build that social interaction, and I was going to talk about that a little more later, just for a short segment. But this format's nice because you guys get to maybe there's some of you that we don't log in at the same time, so we might not see each other. I might not always see one of you at a certain time of day, or maybe Major or Stefan or Terry or some of our scouts, and we don't always get to mingle, so it's a chance to at least hear our voice, hear what we sound like, and hear our intentions and our tone, and it can be a lot better and a lot more personal than text. So And then at the end, what we'll do is we will have what we call our Q&A, our question and answer time. So if there's things that we talk about here that in this segment of announcements that you guys have any questions on, or maybe some ideas, or you think, oh, hey, I know a way they could do that better, please let us know, especially during the Q&A part. That will definitely help us. And yes, it is. This is all being recorded. So if there is something that somebody wants to ask or talk about that they don't want recorded, just go ahead and either let us know as soon as I'll at the end I'll say okay, we're done, and we can VC about it, or you can message, DM, however you want to do it. I just want to give everybody that space where they feel comfortable, you know, talking and messaging and sharing their thoughts too, because everybody here has a voice, and we want to hear it so that we can mold our community to the best Azure we can manifest. So, as we usually do in our text format that we had for the assembly, we would welcome new members and we would talk about rankings real quick. So, again, as I've said for 10 years, and now I'll get to say it in VC, rankings are not our priority. They're not our goal. They are not something we push for. We are not elitist. Ever since the beginning of Azure, I have said the same sentence I just said just now. Prior to Azure, prior to Azure, what happened then? The Dark Ages. No. Prior to Azure, we had the Crimson Blades Free Company, and details of the past have been, lost and misconstrued. But we do provide some of that around our sites, mentioning that we did have a small free company called the Crimson Blades. In fact, it wasn't really ours. It was inherited due to the leaders leaving and passing the torch. And when that happened, we found out that that torch wasn't really passed all the way. It was actually a false leader rank. Because we ended up, we had an old member here that left not too long ago that had leaked that the guys were going to take it back from us. So we were like, okay, let's go ahead and make our own community, because we built this thing up while they were all gone, and they're coming in to steal it. So we moved on and made Azure. Wow, that's our founding in a nutshell. But the reason I brought that up is because during Crimson Blades, the group that was around at that time, there's still a couple floating around here in the community. We came up with the idea of having this like monthly meeting thing. So yes, it is relevant. We had a what we call the Crimson Address, which was a little newsletter type thing, and then we would meet in game. So that is like the very start of us kind of meeting up in like an assembly chamber. Though we used to have a big round table, not the Knights round table. It was just like a glade round table built to the top floor with a giant flaming Ifrit head over it. And we would discuss the FC. And back then, the hot topic was Bahamut coils. Ooh, yeah, because that's what was new back then. That's what we had to look forward to. at eye level too. That was some good bonding time. We'll just put it that way. And so since then, going back then, the format has always been text. And why do we keep text? We kept text because, well, it fit just about everybody. Whether they had TeamSpeak or not, because there was no Discord, or whether they, whether or not they could be there present, or we didn't record it, so I guess they couldn't hear it later. But that's why we were like, what? I think it's finally time that we move away from text. We can present it like this. I know anybody could do this, but I do have some experience holding panels, so that kind of helps a little bit. Like I've said before in some of my bios, that I do put a lot of my experience from past work into my work here in Azure. So this is our format going forward. We're going to really try and see how this goes. It looks like we got 17 people in the channel. Welcome to those that popped in just recently. And those that are listening to this vlog later, thank you for joining us. So moving forward, our rankings right now, like I said, it's not a priority, but we do very much analyze them. Why do we analyze them? Well, those that have been here a long time and heard me say this speech before know that our rankings are something, like I said, not a priority, but they are a testament. What are they a testament to? They're a testament to activity, and activity is the life, the energy of the FC. Being a leader for 10 years, my experience, and those who have been on the council with me for a while, Stefan, Terry, Major, um, even those that might have run an FC here that are with us today, that have maybe they run one on an alt or maybe run one in the past. You know that activity is what can make or break an FC. And obviously, all of us, from me to our newest recruit, know that our interest lies first, and pretty much almost first and foremost. When we first walk in the door of the FC, is is it alive or is it dead? What contributes to it being more lively? And that comes from recruits, fresh blood, events, things on the horizon, things to look forward to, people chatting, feeling like they have a space to chat, getting to know each other. There's a million things that goes into FC activity, and on the lodestone, I know that's just kind of a thing that not everybody really like looks at or cares about the FC rankings. Some don't even know it exists. um, but we've looked at it since the very beginning because it's based on credits that the FC gets in game, and it transfers to Lodestone's credits, which does show active FCs. So what's interesting is over the years what we've learned from that data that FCs that buy a house. Here's a fun fact: if they buy a house on the first day they bought that house, they shoot up to number one for like almost a week. Isn't that amazing? Especially if they have like a number of people in their roster as well. Recruiting gives lots of credits. Turning in gear actually to the GC, because we learned that when you turn in gear, you get Grand Company seals at the GC. Turn in as many of those as you can, guys, because it gives FC credits and it gives us ranking. If everybody were to do their like daily roulettes and just roll on everything, and whatever they get they pop in that they don't need, that they get their own seals for, which we got seal sweetener up almost 3 or 4 days a week in the FC buffs, and you get a whole bunch of seals, you're going to get bonus and you're going to help the FC with credits, and that helps our ranking. Now, I just said our ranking's not a priority, so why do we want our ranking to go up? Why do we care about that? Because there's actually recruits that see our there are some, well, I call them the more studious recruits, the ones that kind of like go to Reddit or check up on us online, and you know um, maybe they've looked at Lodestone, and they're like, oh, I want to see what these real active FC are. So why, going back to my point before, we value activity. When we join an FC, we want to see that it's alive, right? We don't want to join a place that's dead, or dead as a doorknob with no chat. We definitely want to we want to see that activity. So they're looking at rankings. They're like, okay, which one looks cool? And there's some ones that might have silly names. They might sound fun. There's other ones that are a little more serious, or there's ones that are just look very organized and well rounded. That's what we try to present. So when you are assisting in the FC's ranking by turning in gear, um, we're popping up. We're going up to number one. Also, recruits help that as well. So when a recruit joins, it goes into the credits, and then they might join because they see the ranking. And so, like I said, it's not our priority, but there's no reason why we shouldn't share this information, because we got people who are actually kind of bored at sometimes, and they're like, hey, Dawn Trail's not for another year or whatever. And I know it's not a year. I'm just being exaggerating, but it's a long slog up there. What can I do to help the FC? And that's like one of 100 things that I'll say is like, well, we got our rankings. If you have extra gear, turn it in, etc. You guys get it. Right now we are seventh monthly and weekly. Seventh monthly and weekly. Now, fun thing about that is we have gone a really really long time, and I mean like almost our whole time in existence. We've been really high up there. We've been like in the top 5, and that's really awesome, and I think that is a huge testament to our activity as an FC. Now it's really slow right now. It's we consider this slow. I mean, you might be like, wow, why is he calling it slow? It's we got events every day, and things are moving along. Well, yeah, but for Azure, for our normal, this is a little slow. And then it also has a huge effect from the content drought, as we call it. The time in which we're waiting for an expansion, or patches are kind of spread out by an extra month now. They used to be kind of about 3-4 months ish. Now they're like 4 or 5 months ish or something. Right now we're waiting the long haul for Dawn Trail, which still does not have a release date for some unknown reason. Which we can all guesstimate why. Um, my personal thoughts are there's a very big game coming out on the 29th for those that know, and I think Square wants all the focus on that until that's out. It's Seven Rebirth. Um, yeah, how many here are gonna play Seven Rebirth? Pretty excited for that. Um, it is it's the hype is real. We'll put it that way. Games getting nines and tens across the board already. But anyway, yeah, so rankings are 7-7, 7 the month, 7 the week. So real quick before we move on, we're gonna talk about events here in a second. Um, the rankings where they're at right now, like I said, big result from the slowdown. You got FCs out there that are doing different things or trying different things. You got new FCs that make their FC that pop up in the week. The weekly we actually don't really analyze a whole lot as much as the monthly. The monthly is like that consistent weekly ranking that really shows because the weekly fluctuates like crazy. But we're really happy to be within Midgard Stormer's top 10. That shows that we still have some blood kicking. Thankfully, we're still alive. We haven't died. We haven't died. We're upholding our events that we're about to talk about in a second, and we are weathering this content drought pretty well, actually. Pretty well. It is really really hard for some communities to actually stay as active as we see our community, even if nobody chats for 2 hours in the log or whatever, or five or whatever. Just to be able to have a couple event parties, a little bit of Discord activity, some VC time, getting new recruits, all that. Which we're going to talk about our recruitment here in a little bit. Um, I like to appreciate where we're at. It doesn't have to be pushing hardcore activity all the time. Of course, we never want to like drop the ball because running our FC is for the council and I can sometimes be a juggling act. We always want to keep something on the horizon. We always want to keep it going. We always want new recruits coming in, but but um, but we want to be thankful for what we have because there are some people that just like their chat's always dead or they have nobody to welcome them when they come online, and that would be the concerning point if we were ever at that point. Now, we're gonna start seeing the Xbox crowd is coming in. So there's gonna be like probably maybe some applications that are more frequent. Maybe we're gonna see higher recruitment levels, etc. We're gonna talk a little bit more about what we're doing to boost recruitment here in just a little bit and what those plans are. Um, but for events, guys, for events, and we're almost to our first raffle, by the way. For events, for those that may or may not have noticed, Super Azure Slayer Sunday has returned to the schedule every Sunday. Previously, Super Azure Slayer Saturday was running. That was the result of a poll that we did last year. But we had a lot of PvP savvy people that were on that poll. They're not here now. And it seems like the present crowd, for at least a percentage of the present crowd, kind of looks at Sunday a little bit more now than Saturday, because Saturday there are people that have statics. There's people that are busy doing stuff IRL, whatever. But earlier Sunday, we're back to doing our front lines, and I hear it. I can hear it now. I don't like PvP. I don't like it in this game. I hear people that say that, and totally get it. Totally get it. Is not for everybody. What we try to do with Super Azure Slayer Sunday, or SAS as we like to call it for short, is we try to provide kind of a space where it's like, hey, some of us aren't huge on it either, but frontlines are a little more chill than you might think. It's not 4-on-4, going in and or 6-on-6 or whatever. It's not crystalline conflict. It's not like the old feast at all. And I say it's chill even though it's chaotic, but it's not something that you're pushing hard against a small number of people. It's kind of like you can be relaxed. I'm not trying to promote too relaxed gameplay, like don't do the objective or anything like that. But it's a space that you can kind of come into a little more casually. There's different game modes that are not just whacking each other. There's the like the shatter where we're destroying the crystals and stuff like that. And we're a team too. You're not alone, and you're not usually in a small group unless we only go in with four because it's 4-man parties. Isn't that strange? You can't queue with five. You can't queue with six or nine or eight or whatever. You can't make a 9-man party anyway. But you know what I'm saying. And the frontline roulette is actually really really good for EXP, by the way. So we'll just do the frontline roulette over and over when we do Super Azure Slayer Sundays. And there are times that the revival community, that's another PvP community, that will try to queue up rival wings, but that's not super common. So most of the time we stick with front lines. But come in, bring a job that you might want to level, and what's cool is you can enter on the job you want to level and then play as a different job after you get in. So it'll actually give EXP to the job you came in on. So it's more than just PvP. Like it's hanging out with fellow FC mates. Maybe like I said earlier, pushing VC. We can chat while we do objectives. You get a lot of rewards from PvP. There's minions, furnishings, orchestrating rules, the whole shebang, framers kits, and there's that new little battle pass thing that they introduced within the last year and a half or something like that, which is actually pretty cool. There's usually a mount, some pretty cool glamour. Like I said, I know it's not for everybody, but if you've never tried it or you haven't done it in an Azure group, give it a shot at least once. Give it a shot. You're bored on Sunday, or you're waiting for Dawn Trail, not sure what to do, just come on over to Super Azure Slayer Sunday. Let's give it a chance. You get some tomes too, and right now we're getting Moogle tomes too. So always fun to get those in a group, right? So that means Super Azure Slayer Saturday was in fact retired. So just in case there's any questions, the Saturday PvP was retired. It was kind of a limited time thing we were trying out based on the poll. And Sunday, it is back on Sundays. I think I had somebody asking you what time on Sunday. 3 p.m. PST, 5 p.m. CST, 6 p.m. EST. Every Sunday doing front lines and maybe sometimes rival wings. So, that being said, Azure 24-man Tuesdays. I know there's been some questions about what we're doing with this current time in the patch. So, the raids have been out for a while, right? They've been out, was going on 5 months or something now of Thalia, Euphrosyne, and Iglea. Not in that order, but yeah. The trilogy is kind of getting up there with age of content. Of course, there's always going to be new people unlocking it and catching up to the end of Endwalker, but it's something that we'll still be running for a little bit. I know a lot of people do appreciate just whether it's it's a lot more casual than when we first started. When we first started, it's super fresh. It takes the full 2 hours. Back when we first started it, every time there's a 24-man series, Azure will try and group a full 24-man in the party finder, which we usually get a chance to do while it's still current. And then as people don't need it as much, we do the smaller parties. And if we get 2, great. If it's a solid 8, and it's chill, that's cool. Like I said, we are thankful for those who show up to our events and hang out with us. One of my favorite sayings is a community that plays together stays together, and that's what we're always trying to push for. So we do want to continue it for a little bit longer. Some people were like, yeah, well, what if it only gets like 4 people? Okay, well, if it's consistently low in attendance, like any event, we'll consider retiring it. But we're still going to host weekly raid parties on Tuesdays for a bit longer. Now, Dawn Trail might not be until late July or August, which I really hope it's not August. I hope it's July. I think we're all crossing our fingers for June or July. Please give us a J month. Please, Yoshi P. But I don't know if it's gonna if a 24-man Tuesdays is gonna last until late summer. That's almost a year of doing Trilogy Raid. But for this present time, we're still gonna do it for a little bit longer. So stay tuned. Also, as far as events go, the Destiny group, I know we have a few people here that play D2 with us, our Azure Wardens, and those that may be interested. We did change dates on that. We changed our Tuesday one to Friday, which kind of assists us in being able to get a little bit better grouping and attendance for the Tuesday, previously what was Tuesday, which is now Friday at 5 p.m. PST, 7 p.m. CST, 8 p.m. EST for our Destiny 2 Clan Day. And then the other one that's on Sunday, instead of being raid focused like it was for a bit, is a kind of anything goes, whatever the group feels like, which is what seems to work better. So if we have enough people for a raid, we'll try to do that. If we don't, we'll see what people need or want, whether it's just doing bounties or crucible matches, or going into maybe getting somebody's campaign done. Maybe somebody chose legendary and we're slogging through that or something. Whatever the case may be, we'll do something on the Sunday and the Friday D2 nights. And the one on Friday is actually a couple hours before our 14 Friday night treasure fights. So say you're like, man, I got nothing to do on a Friday night. Pop in a D2 and come on over to Maps afterwards with us. Lots of stuff going on there. So in the future, and I'm going to talk about our wings soon. Actually, in phase 3, I'm going to talk about our wings. But I wanted to say that in the future, we would love to see those who do play a couple, of our games that we support, pop in over here with us and then hang out, and then they're like, yeah, popping over to 14, like just kind of giving everybody a chance to have this variety of Azure activity to do. Because remember, first and foremost, we are a global community. Before anything, 14's our crown jewel. It's our crown gem. It's our main focus. It always will be. You can always be reassured of that. But we do have our other games that we have smaller groups in that we want to see grow as well, so we can kind of develop this overall awesome happening place here where folks are coming into Discord and chatting and playing different games together, some of their own games as well, and then the ones that we have guilds for. It's just awesome. It's what we're pushing for. So, but 14 is our crown gem, so no worries about that. um, but as far as VC and building social interaction goes, this is the point that I was going to mention it. So yeah, great segue. Like I said again, if you don't have a mic and you're here listening, or you're listening to this recording later on, and you're like, man, I'm not really the most social person, but I love this group. Well, we love you anyway. We're glad you're here. If you don't have a mic, or you're shy, please come into VC anyway and just listen. Like, you can be here muted, or if you just talk a little bit, either way. We all want to get to know each other. It's hard as a leader to really try and build a group where everybody's always talking to each other and getting to know you. Like, our wish, right, as leaders, is to, even the members wish this. Many do. Is to have everybody, familiar with each other and socializing and such. And I think where Azure has really succeeded in the past has been with a membership that, not just enjoys the content that we're doing, but enjoys being together, right? Because, well, most will join an FC because adventuring alone gets kind of lonely, and it's nice to have people to chat with. It's cool when you're just chilling and you see stuff popping up in the log, and it's great to have stuff like this, assemblies, and then VC at other times. And so that socialness of it all, I've seen people interpret our charter. Our charter, we recently kind of went over and condensed some information, which is another thing I was going to mention. But we wanted to really stress that our main rules are within the 2 paragraphs at the start of the charter, and there's lots of additional information. But you'll see in that additional information that we do promote social interaction. Nobody is ever shamed for not doing so. Nobody is ever looked down upon or not worthy of promotion or anything like that. Like, nobody is ever in that status for not interacting. I just want to be clear on that. We have plenty of lurkers that just enjoy the buffs and they're happy, and I check in with people and I say, hey, how's things going for you in our free company? Some of you might, here today might, remember me doing that every now and then. How's things going for you lately? Or maybe Stefan or Terry or Major might have chatted with you. How's things going for you? Is there anything you need? Is there anything we can do? Do you have anything that you need done or anything like that? And of course, we can't get time to do that with everybody all the time. So apologies if I haven't reached out to you lately. But and there's always there's always stuff in the works, always stuff going on. But we want to really continue to keep our finger on the pulse of the community as much as we can. So doing our voice assembly here, like this is one step of many in that plan to do that. So, like I said, social interaction, building that up, VC, maybe inspiring each other, and all of you guys can help with this. This is something the whole community can help with. If I'm tired, I'm getting ready to do roulettes, and I don't know what else to do. I'm just gonna put in FC chat. Hey, anybody want to come along to roulettes with me? I'm just gonna do this, and yeah, and I know sometimes it's like demoralizing, and nobody replies. It's like, oh, like I reached out to the FC and nobody replied, but do that anyway, because a lot of times, if you can get over that like sorrow of a silent chat for a minute, which happens. If you look at the FC window, you'll see people are either AFK or busy, or it's the dead of night, and that's totally understandable for there not being much chat activity. But if you think about, like, I'm gonna go do something, just talk about what you're doing. Say like, anybody want to go with me? And you might get folks after a while that realize that, oh yeah, this person does roulettes around this time, and just little tips of kind of sharing with like what you're doing goes a long way, and people will see that it's also something that oh, these guys are pretty cool. A new recruit comes in and they're like, oh, they like to pull people along in with them, and then you can go a step further and be like, hey, let's VC, and then we got four people in a party doing roulettes together that are in VC and getting to know each other. And that right there is golden. Like, that's really nice to see. That's really nice to see. Or just listening even to one person narrate, the party, or do call outs, or whatever. That's really great to see. So voice chat and building social interaction, very, very good thing. Very good thing for a community. Just a focus topic today. Like I said, not required, not going to be required or anything like that. But just wanted to bring that up. So let's take a short break before we move on to the next things I wanted to talk about here, and do our first raffle. First raffle of the assembly. Going to switch over to my game here. Just turning around because where my screens are. And if you are present in the assembly chamber, I'm going to come up to the middle of the room here. If you're present in the assembly chamber, go ahead and do a /random. Go ahead right now. We're going to do a flash raffle. /random in the chat box. Just a / and then the word random, and hit enter. There we go. I see a bunch of numbers coming up. Awesome, awesome. The way this works is I will do a /random myself after I call time here in just a moment. And the number closest to mine will win a prize pack. Yes, we have packs of prizes this time, not just one. There's going to be 3-item prize packs for each raffle tonight. Awesome, awesome. Raffle time, raffle time. If you're out there in the world and you're doing something, or you're in another game, hanging out or whatever, come on over and roll real quick. I don't know about another game, that might take a minute, but yeah, we'll be rolling here. I'll be rolling in just a second, about maybe 60 seconds here, about a minute, minute and a half. Looks like we're making pretty good time as well with this voiced assembly. Hope you guys are finding this enjoyable and informative. What would be really cool is if we had some kind of magic system that turned VC into in-game text as fluid as we talked. That would be really neat. I can hear Major right now trying to figure it out. I'm in his mission control center. Let me see here. I have not kept as much eye on the assembly chat here. Oh, that's cool. It can pop up on the side. That's neat.
Don't need to figure it out. It's already available.
I knew it. I see Major shared the Zoohorn icon. Clever. All right, just a reminder: if you haven't rolled, or if you're on your way and you're almost here, put in the FC chat. You're almost here. That way we know. So I'm about to call time. Never feed the lalas. Yep. Okay, I'm gonna type in game here, and time. Okay. And slash random. Oh my god, I rolled an 8. Wow, I wasn't expecting that low. Well, I guess lowest roll, guys. Lowest roll. We did 181. Wow, I didn't expect to roll an 8. Let's see. Well, that'd be lowest roll, I think, is 181. Looks like Talon, unless I am tripping here. We got a 5.
Briggs has a 258.
Briggs is a 258. Yeah, but it's closest to 8, so it's going to be the lowest. 181 is lower than 258. Yeah, so 198 would have been the. Let me see.
My bad. I thought you said 281.
Oh no, just no. I'm speaking out loud while looking at stuff in the chat here. Yeah. Oh, Major. Yeah, you were close. You were close. Looks like Talon. Yep. Congrats, Talon. Congrats. Go ahead and step forward. Alrighty. Let me see here. Oh my god, my inventory. Why did I not sort it? Okay, there we go. Okay, wait, why is it? Oh, that's why. Okay. So we have one of these. Haha. And so we have Talon gets a Zoohorn, a Suzosaurus, and an albino Karakool horn. All prizes tonight are one minion and 2 mounts. Congratulations. A few nice ones there. And of course, if you win something that you're just not into and you want to put it back in the pool, you're welcome to do so, or sell it. Some of these prizes are all worth quite a bit, so usually keep things in the just under a mil range, I think, for most of these combined. And let's see here. Okay. Oh yeah, thank you, Arya. So far so good. It wasn't too many rolls. I made a log that has it too. I don't know if I did that when I moved to PC and PS5. Okay. All right. So we have two more sets of raffles in between our next announcement phases here. Okay, let me see here. All right, guys. Next. Let me take a drink of water. I've been talking for 40 minutes. It does feel like I'm at a panel. So I always have water on the table too. Let me do those. It was funny too because way back when one of my early panels in my earlier days, like around 2011 or so, we had water and coffee on the tables. Yeah, coffee to keep us energized while talking we had a 2-hour panel, and we brought let's see, we had Steve Bloom and Ali Hillis. Ali Hillis is the voice of Lightning from the Final Fantasy series, as well as Liara from Mass Effect, and specifically 13, where Lightning appears. And she had her coffee. I knocked over and almost burnt Steve Bloom. It was a good time. Let's see here. And of course, he replied in his voice of Grunt from Mass Effect 2 because we were just talking about Liara. He's like, darn it, Shepard. Anyway, okay, so going into phase two here, I want to talk about the Ascension project first for phase two. So, some of you that may follow announcements may check out our website or have seen the little video trailer we did for our Ascension project. Might have somewhat of an idea of what I'm about to talk about. So famously in Azure, we have had what we kind of loosely refer to as Azure eras. And eras of Azure kind of represent like what expansion we're at in 14, what kind of things are kind of going on in that time. And some of you who are here with us today joined during our Resurgence Ceruleum era. Resurgence Ceruleum, Latin for Rising in the Azure Sky, was a period of time that we did like a huge overhaul after 5 years of being a free company, and we were like, you know what? Let's rethink our ranks. Let's rethink all this stuff and make a new website and get more involved in social media because we had like virtually almost none of that going on. For not well, we had it for RAN when it was still RAN, but we merged everything together under one name. So Azure Media and all this stuff like that. Everything the way it is now and has been for the last good 4.5, 5 years, is a result of our Resurgence Ceruleum project, and so and also RC era as we refer to it as. And so I thought, you know what, let's liven things up a bit. Let's inject some positive excitement for the future, and let's call a new era and a new project. Not that it all needs an overhaul of the same way, and it's not the same as RC was, but we called it Ascension. So generals and I got together and we were like, okay, Rising, cool. Ascension, yeah. Space is infinite, like infinite Azure Sky, across many worlds, aka our wings and more. So Azure Infinitum Ascension. And what do we decide to call the era? Well, some might refer to it as the Ascension era, but we called it Novus Lux Aeternum, New Light Eternal, because what we want to do is we want to lay a foundation for everything to come, which is kind of sort of something that we have been working on as a council for almost 2 years. Those that might remember or didn't know, there was a short break in my time in 2022 due to an emergency move that my mother and I had. It was really, 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 really rough. Like it was a nightmare scenario, and everything I had to basically focus all my time and energy and effort into survival under some very difficult odds and some things that were kind of beyond normal that were happening IRL, and it was really rough. And we're still very, very well. I say we. She passed away in September. I'm very, very thankful, and I know she was too. For those that did actually give us a hand because we ran a GoFundMe. It was really, really rough, and it's come full circle now because I spent 2023, finalizing what was going on in 2022, and she was didn't expect it to happen, but she passed away, and it was pretty rough just before that, and a little rough after that, or very rough after that, but not like 2022 because it was a different scenario. But that is another reason why I'm bringing that up is because our plans for Azure in full for like the Ascension project has been on the back burner because we actually wanted to do this a little earlier than now. We wanted to do it like more earlier to mid Endwalker and kind of carry on the fire we had with the RC era when we did that big overhaul previously. But things got a little delayed, and a lot of it had to do with everything that I wanted to input into it and connect with, excuse me, connect with everybody and our council alike to do this. Kind of just kept getting pushed forward and not intentionally at all. And so now we're heading up to Dawn Trail, and we got all this time to Dawn Trail. So we're like, okay, yeah, this is good. This is a good time. And a lot of stuff has passed, and now we are, very much future minded. We're very like, yeah, let's kick butt for the future, establish this, this even stronger foundation within what we have currently. And there's a whole list of bullet points. And I'm not going to spend forever talking about this, but I want to go down some of what we posted and talk about what has actually already been accomplished. There's a number of things that have actually already been accomplished right out of the gate with this project. Um, so firstly, one thing, because some people might not be aware actually, is that we did go we did go through our rules and guidelines charter, and we took a look at things real closely, and we were like, okay, there are some things in here that are very old. There were some things that were a bit intimidating, the size of the content, and we're like, okay, if you run a community and you're running an active model like Azure's, and you're doing that for a decade, and you're writing down things as they happen. You're like, oh, I never thought of this, so you didn't have it in the rules. And then it happens in game, and we're like, oh, that needs to be in the rules. And I can't tell you guys how many times we've had something happen, and someone goes, oh, well, I didn't see that in the rules because it was like an unspoken thing that we just kind of all did. And we're like, oh, yeah, you're right. It's not, but it will be. And we've added it in. And because we've done that a lot, we ended up with some stuff that was either maybe not so necessary or maybe needed to be worded better. And we took a hard look at that. And, just, just in general, it's been 10 years and we have our critics and we've had people come and go. And we understand, that everything's a work in progress, right? So we went back and we looked at some things. We're like, okay, that's completely unnecessary or doesn't apply to current day, or that really needs to be worded better. And it took some time to really go through 10 years of 23 chapters of charter. And the other thing too is, we've noticed some confusion in the community with our what we call our no drama policy, which is kind of summarizes our general rules. Don't be a jerk, etc. But people think, like, oh well, we must be drama ridden to have a no drama policy. Well, I think this goes back to the days that we formed Azure, and then realizing that the pulse of the 14 community in general, it was really, really attractive and common to see FCs say no drama policy. We didn't invent that terminology. Um, I was kind of looking, and I always do, of course, because analyzing other people's businesses and what works and stuff like that is always in my brain. But looking at FCs and being like, okay, I see this is popular, or I see this is, what kind of spin can we put on it? And so, no drama policy was always that lingo that was very attractive. And of course, we have one. It's basically our general rule. So, if you haven't looked at the charter in a while, and you're curious how stuff works here or stuff like that, we made sure to separate the actual like guidelines, which is 2 paragraphs. That's it, and the rest is additional information. So that way there's a guide somewhere where someone can go and go, oh, I wonder how the chest works in Azure. I wonder, can I throw in all of these items that are barely worth 100 gil, or is there actually rules for that? Yes, there is, and it's very good to go and reference that if you're unsure. Maybe there's something else like how do these guys do their disciplinary measures if someone is really really bad, in the community, because remember that we're not out to like get people or strike people or discipline them. That is communities that do that are like obsessed with their own power or whatever. Like our disciplinary measures are listed of how we handle things because we want people to know this is how things are handled. Whether it's what we call an investigation is when somebody reports something that might have 2 sides, and we'll talk to both sides, etc. Just the standard procedure for handling issues. And the way we cover that in the charter is we let people know how we do things, so that way, not the people that we might have to go after for a strike or something, but the folks that are good members who want to know that their leaders are looking out for them. We want we want you all to know that like we have these systems in place, so that way there is some good balance to how we solve these issues, and how do we do it. So that stuff's all listed in the additional information. That's not so much like a rule. If anything, it's a rule for leadership, but stuff like that, for example. So that was worded way more clearly now, and was also condensed greatly. So like I said, 10 years. Got to cut us some slack on we've had three different sets of council that has come and go in 3 years. We've had a couple different scout assist corps that have been formed. Over time, things are added and taken away, just like when any organization has a charter. So, if you haven't checked it in a while, that was one of our very, very, very first goals for our Ascension project. Is we need to make sure that the it's not a document, but you know the constitution of our community is accurate, updated, modern, and makes sense, and isn't too hard to read. Because I type a lot. I'm used to typing a lot, and I sometimes I have to go back and realize, okay, this needs condensement. This needs condensing. Condensement, condensing, and so that's what we did, and we did that with a lot of things. So also that goes into rank revisions. Ooh, rank, like, ooh, what's changed with the ranks? Well, ranks themselves haven't changed per se, but if you go to the ranks page on the website, you're going to find much shorter descriptions that are a lot more, to the point. Prerequisites are very clear. There's no question about those. Of course, anybody's welcome to ask questions, but they're very clear. And we wanted to make sure that ranks were described the most clearly as possible, because that's so important. I know some people are like, oh, I've never even seen that page in my life. But if you are curious and you are interested in ranking up, which is never mandatory, never a forced thing, and can always be stepped down from and even returned to in Azure, because we like to make them fluid ranking system. And you're curious, go check it out. Go check it out, because we also really, really, really like it when people are like, "Hey, I'm interested in taking a step up further," or because a step from member up is scout rank, which is, it's not leadership, it's support. We call support scouts support, and council generals lieutenants leadership. And a lot of you are like, "Yeah, I've known that for a very long time," but not everybody knows and not everybody remembers sometimes. So it's good to know that if you are interested in stepping up a little further above member, you come into a very versatile, flexible, I should say, flexible role, where we give members a chance to be included in our support channels on Discord, while also having the chance to hold the scout rank, which signifies that to our community that like, hey, I've signed up to kind of be helpful every now and then when I can, because it's a when you can. It's, I always say, do what you can with the time you have, but don't exhaust yourself. And that's been my phrase, just like my couple other ones I mentioned. Community that stays together plays together, stays together. Do what you can with the time you have, but never exhaust yourself. And when we have a team, which is, like I said again, we love it when people come to us and want to rank up. The bigger the team of support, the more people are doing things. So if you have one person that sees somebody in chat and they're a newer player and they're like, I really need help with this, or maybe they're a long time member and they're like, I'd love it if somebody else came with me or whatever, and they just pop in and run with them. Sometimes that means a lot to somebody, just that we had one person respond. And you never know. You never know how you made their day, or maybe they're reassured that Azure cares. And even though other people might pop in too, being a scout, you also have a chance to like report something that might be necessary to the support channel. Like, hey, this person could also use help with this. If anybody knows how to make this for them or do that, or it's really, really good to have people step up into scout, because they get the chance to see a little bit of the back door of Azure and also assist with it. And if it's something that like, oh, once a week I like to drop in and do some stuff for the FC out of the 3 days I play or whatever, it's always a casual way of supporting. Now, if you're really involved with the events and you want to start getting into like hosting and helping the council a little further, you can also step up further into sergeant and captain, which signifies those that have fully gone through what we call our event training, which I know is kind of a strong word, training. Ooh. But our training is really just a couple weeks of a council member making sure that, kind of overshadowing and seeing somebody, making sure that they're following what we call our event protocol, which is pretty much our simple grouping methods to make sure that people are grouped quickly and properly, and it's not messy. and we go out and roll out and do our events. And the way that many of you come to our events and enjoy them is based on this, this protocol that we have of orderly grouping. So events are a way of making activity happen, manifesting activity, and then making it happen very organized grouping. And so when folks rank up, and I know we got many scouts and folks here, they're like, yep, I remember when I first got started in that. And maybe we got some members thinking, oh, it might be neat to start out as a casual scout and see how it goes. But the more folks we have ranking up, the more services and party leads and hosts and oversight and everything that we can provide. Not oversight, over like overwatch, watching over parties and having more people on hand. So that way, when we get to the expansion and we got 3 full parties going into a 24-man raid, we've got a few scouts in each one, a host for each one. That's really nice when our activity builds to have that many. So between scouts and council alike, we love seeing people get more involved. And if someone wants to stay a scout forever, or drop in, drop out of assist, our assist core, which is our support official name for support, they could do that too. If I've been a scout for like a few months and I'd like to take a break, always fine. So for our Ascension project, rank revisions was made. Rules charter and guidelines has been condensed and updated along with the ranks. What we call our leadership renewal and creation of our Azure Council charter, that is something that is really, really new, and we have not done that before. We, to the surprise of many, the council has not had its own list of sort of like guidelines. Like, this is how council truly officially operates on a document. Not a long, drawn out, complicated thing, but just a page that kind of signifies like we do this, and we handle this way, and this is where we take things to DMs or talk about, because it's council, right? So those have been around a long time, have seen a couple different councils in Azure. The most important thing about our council is that it remains and I know many of you are probably like, I don't know if I'll ever see, that channel. But just so you guys know, the reassurance for our community is that our council, the best thing for council is that it remains a good place for our leaders to always discuss and debate without arguing. And arguments are welcome. Civil arguments are welcome. Once our council tips in a direction of like things maybe start to get heated, which is not totally abnormal, dealing with day to day running hundreds of people through content, and not saying that happens every day, but you know what I mean, on a regular basis of running our FC. There might be little things that come up that are difficult topics, difficult things. Somebody might end up having to ban somebody that got 3 strikes, and that person was a friend, but they have to basically suck it up and accept it after long discussions and meetings and things like that we'll have sometimes to handle some very, very difficult decisions that have had to been made in the past, always with our community in mind. We never want to provide this place and say it's a welcoming, friendly environment if the council is keeping folks around that are actually harming people, whether it's verbally or putting them down as, like an elitist, or just constant drama or issues like that is something we never want to harbor. So some very difficult decisions have to be made sometimes, and we don't like having to make them. We don't like it, but we have to do it for the community. And if we don't hold our charter, we don't hold ourselves to a charter, and we don't hold the community charter in mind at all times, then how are we leaders, right? And we've have made some mistakes before, and we've also learned from them. Myself and my own leadership of our council and our own community has also I've also been there, been there. But going forward and learning what works and how we need to handle our community and our leadership team, um, you know, effectively is the goal. That's the biggest goal. So making a council charter, which kind of keeps things a little bit in line, and that way, as we build up our council too, which is another thing we want to see within the next, year or so. I know it's like a year, but we can't do the council, quickly. But as we get, captains ranking up and folks coming into lieutenant positions, which is one of our main leadership ranks. Um, we want to make sure that we have this charter that keeps things as organized in the council as possible. So having an organized council under a charter, rank revisions, rules and guidelines being condensed, those are all really big parts of our Ascension project, because in the long run, those things are going to continue to matter like big time. Um, and as you've noticed, within the last month, the new rank, Hand of the Master, was created, of which I have appointed General Major Payne, who is my hand in anytime that I have something come up. It's very important to have a vice president rank, I've found, to have a voice that can act on my behalf if I'm busy or I get sick, for example, right? Something comes up for a couple weeks and I'm like really really out of it and needing to rest or have a surgery or an emergency or something like that, we've got a guy that can act in my stead, and keeps very close communication with me at all times. So that way we can reassure the community that, like, well, Reika's gone, and the council's got issues going on. All is lost. We don't want that to happen. So, and of course, our website has had a little bit of an overhaul. If you haven't checked it lately, it's got a new theme. It's very very crisp. Some new fonts. Pages have been overhauled greatly. There's things that are, like I said, condensed information. The directory has been updated with lots of links. There's actually a couple more I need to add there, for some of our newer social media pages. The FC's About page for the FC and for Azure as a whole has been updated. There's a timeline coming from 2013 all the way to 2014 with bullet points and little interesting, tidbits and things over the years. That's also been updated. As of earlier this month. And homepage has been like highly, highly adjusted on our community site. Talking about the community site, AzureInfinitum.com, AzureNet.com is where we post other content. But on AzureInfinitum.com, it's gotten a pretty big overhaul. Forums were greatly reduced because forums are not as popular these days. Discord's killing it. So we reduced the forums mainly to our leadership and support channels that we will use sometimes to host certain documents. We have moved a number of documents over to our assist forum for all of our scouts and such, and leadership as well, to be able to check it from there. That way it's in one place, because over time we started collecting too many documents. Oh, here's a list of protocol just to have on hand, and people are probably wondering, like, you guys have documents for that? um, you'd be surprised over time when you're running a 20-man leadership team and people, were like, start to ask, we need something to reference. We need this. Like I said, we didn't have the charter for the council. What do we have that we can reference? And so they're like, okay, I'll make a Google Doc, and it's like, all right, cool, we'll do that, and then we'll link it. And we did that many times, and it got to the point where we ended up finding ourselves with like 10 different documents. So we compiled it all. We have a newly updated everything. The scouts can access our new ban list, which links pretty much everybody on it, so that way in case there's somebody that tries to get back into Azure with a different name change or something like that, something nefarious, we at least have lodestone tracking, as well as a number of other methods, scary words, to make sure that our community is protected as much as possible from folks, trying to invade and do very childish things, which we have seen recently and have locked down apps a little bit. Some might have noticed that. Brand new characters that are like obviously very, very new, sprouts, people that are very obviously level boosted to 80 and have no achievement history or Maybe they have something on there that they say, "Oh yeah, I've never played this game before," but they've got the Kate Sith minion from the 2013 pre-order, and they have activity going back to the beginning of Earth, and they're like, they lie upon recruitment. Obviously, those are not going to be approved. Um, so, being that, like I said, 10 years, we have our critics, and being a top FC, you're gonna get some weird unsavories every now and then. Sometimes disgruntled ex-members, etc. We do our very, very, very best to make sure that our community continues to, have a mature environment that is opening and welcoming to people, as well as leadership doing what we can, support doing what we can to ensure that recruitment is as safe as can be, while also not overwhelming recruits, while also being careful of the applications that come in. So I wanted to reassure everybody on that. Like I said, sometimes we have a case where we don't know. Some newbie will come in and try to take chess stuff or something like that. That hasn't happened in a long time, but you can't always know when that's going to happen. But we do keep backup supplies and things like that as well. So, but between, like I said, our rank revisions, our charter, our condensing of information, the council charter, hand of the master, website overhaul, assist documents, like I've just mentioned, and then we have a little project going on with what we call our Azure depots. That's a long topic, but I just wanted to mention that we are taking donations for, and this goes into my next topic for the company chest. We are taking donations for materials. So we want to I don't know right now if we have a material list. Do we have a material list, Major, somewhere? Um, because I know there are some people here that will pop some stuff in every now and then to help with our Azure depots. The depots are basically extra estates that are Azure leader owned, usually. At least that's what we're pushing for now. That are trying to basically build, a blank FC that has a couple alts in it to get extra airships. Lots of people do this to try to get extra supplies. We're building those extra airships up so that way we can supply Azure with more, not only a little bit of extra gil boost, so we can do bigger prizes in Azure Day, and but also the dusk leather for tabards, because we like to give out tabards on our special event days, and also supply with whatever drops might come in, and also the buffs. Um, we are working on a pretty sizable project right now to supply more grade 3 buffs than we ever have before. Not just the 8 a month that's possible for singular FCs, or the 60 days that we like to save up for the expansion. And that's going to be really exciting, is that we have 60 days of grade 3 EXP. Like I said, normally you can only get 8 a month. We're going to have 60, and we're talking daily for 2 months of grade 3 EXP when the expansion launches. So that should greatly assist with everybody's leveling. The new job cap, or the level cap will be 100, going from 90 to 100. So that should assist greatly. And then guess what? All that leveling, all that extra percentage of leveling goes into FC credits, which means our ranking, which could mean recruits and everything else. So it all flows together really, really well. And so if there's not a resource list out there, we might be making one soon. As well as we had an idea of something called the Azure Job Board, which might be a bulletin board in the near future that would post like, hey, if you're bored, here's a few things the FC might need, like those materials I mentioned. Let me see here really quick. I got a couple messages. I want to make sure there's nothing super important here. Oh, okay. I was tabbed over onto my notes here. Sorry about that, Vesh. I'll go ahead and click your thingy here. And see how this works. Hey,
Yeah, sorry. It's a little late now, I think, to be able to say it.
sorry
Yeah,
about
he
that.
already left. I just wanted to. Talon wasn't feeling well, and I wanted to mention that he was having to head out. I
Oh,
figured
okay.
with his situation, I wanted
Right,
to
right.
bring it up, but he's already headed out now. So
Okay.
sorry, and
Nope.
thank you.
Oh, all good. All good. Sorry, I didn't see that till just now.
me back down. I don't know how to do it.
um,
Oh,
do you is okay? It's down there. Okay, I think it's leave the stage option or something. Because there's disconnect and then there's leave the stage. So okay. All right, awesome. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, yeah. So, lastly, with the Ascension project, like I said, the company chest, we did make one change with the company chest recently that I wanted to mention, especially because I mentioned donating for depots when we have that list. Is tab 4 is now locked for council use. We don't really see a lot of people using the chest that much, and as you might have seen if you go check out the chest sometime, the first page is for dyes and food and sometimes orchestrion rules. The second and third tabs will usually have lots of materia, and we try to keep them orderly as starting with grade 6 through 10. We don't keep anything under that. So please do not fill the chest with low grade materia under 6 or items or like mats and stuff that's not worth very much. Because that can fill up really, really fast. I know a lot of people are like, oh, but I want to give minions to everybody. I mean, there, there's a lot of minions we're getting pelted with nowadays from like GC blind boxes and all that stuff. Um, but a lot of them are worth like 200 gil and stuff like that. It's just it's not okay for the chest because it's going to build up fast. But the reason we locked tab 4 is donations for the Azure prize pool. So if you want to throw in something, hey, I got this minion that's worth like 400k and I already got it, and I'm rich and don't need 400k, and I'd like to give it to the FC, pop it in tab 4. Tab 4 is perfect. You can also do 5, but 5 is where we move a lot of buff mats and things like that around and ship mats. So tab 4, unless it's full, which would be great if it was, because then our prize pool would have more. But throw a prize in there. And on Azure Day weekends, when we do those, Azure Days are usually about 100 to 200 prizes full. So that whole tab is still like, if that's full, that's still just a small portion of the prize pool. And of course, we invest some gil into prizes as well to kind of beef it up a bit because we like to go big on those Azure Days. For those that are new or haven't attended one, Azure Days are like where we celebrate the whole community, and we'll post like a little guide online of like all the special events we'll do, and that's where we do our like parades for the FC, races, contests, big raffles, and all kinds of stuff like that. For like sometimes we do it a single day, sometimes we do it 2 days. If it's a seasonal one for like a holiday, it's usually a Saturday or a Sunday thing. So one day on those. But we have not announced an Azure Day yet. Given the content drought, we've just kind of figured like, we don't want to put tons of work into a small Azure Day, right? We kind of like to build it up for a while, get the price pull up, watch activity, see how activity rises, maybe with content coming or recruitment or whatever, and then announce a really big Azure Day. So um, normally we would have a first quarter Azure Day, then we would have in between the holiday ones that we do, and then we would have our Summerfest, which is August, and then we would have our anniversary one in November. This year is our 10th anniversary, so we're definitely going big on that, and we're going to go big on Summerfest because it's hopefully by the end of August, Dawn Trail will be out, and we can have lots of new prizes from the new expansion. So um, definitely want to go big on those. So we might not be announcing one for a little while, so that we can do some really really big ones later this year. Kind of makes sense with the content drought. I know that some people are probably like, well, what about those that are bored during the content drought? Well, we'll still have some surprises on the way. Um, but with the chest, go ahead and pop donations, whether it's for materials that we post or ask for, or if you're out there and you're bored, nobody has to do this. It's just a thing that we figured, if there's people in the FC that might want to help build our ships, you can pop it in tab 4, and tab 4 is for prize donations as well. Also, large scale recruitment is what I call when we go out and we do our shouts combined with tells to FC lists. Putting up our fellowship recruitment ad as well as our Reddit and community finder ads, and the rest that we do elsewhere. Some of our social media will promote the FC every now and then. And it's something that we do to kind of blanket a large scale of players, so that way we can keep awareness in the minds of of folks in the realm of our community, as well as pitching to those who are FC-less. We don't pitch to people who are in an FC because we still value a bit of honor in not poaching. Poaching is our term for going to another community and saying, "Hey, come over here." And our view officially is that that's a pretty dick move. There is no honor in poaching people's members when you're trying to build a community and keep activity up. It's basically a giant slap in the face saying, "Hey, I don't care about your community's activity. Give me your people." And we don't do that. We do not do that ever. Just so that way everybody knows that is like a bannable offense. If we find out someone is actually actively doing that, an accident is whatever, but it's very very highly discouraged, and we don't like doing that. So what we do is we take our time to do shouts, because shouts will cover players that might be like, oh, I've been in this dead FC for a while and I'm kind of looking for one. But it's a way where, we're not poaching them. We're putting out information for folks in the realm that might be interested in an active, organized, friendly community like Azure. And we use those keywords, and we have our macros and things like that to try to find more folks that would value Azure, because that's the whole point, is finding those folks that want to have fun in a community that's active, and building that up. And then the people within Azure, like, oh yeah, I see those green notifications on the FC board when I log in, and it's showing people joining, and that always shows like interest, and it's exciting. And you never know who we find might be our next general in the future. We never know. Might be the next member who's a super beloved community personality. So I always say, we've got friends we haven't met yet. Let's go find them. That's one of my other sayings for recruitment. And you always got to keep that open. I learned very early on that as soon as you stop recruiting for a while, things can get stagnant. They might say, "Oh, Hikaru, how can you say that if you love the people that are presently here?" Well, it's not a secret that folks, one, come and go in activity. Two, sometimes content is a factor. It might be hard for some people to stay dedicated during low content. And there are folks that forget to take a vacation rank, and they time out, and we go, well, we have to keep our roster tidy, and we keep our active roster for a reason, many reasons. And we'll either put them on vacation if we absolutely know they're on vacation and that they really don't want to leave. But if it's like somebody that never talks and they never let us know they're on vacation and they MIA'd after joining, they'll get removed. But that's also why everybody can join up to 3 times, so it's pretty balanced. Um, we do know that a lot of people are exhausted from Endwalker's slow or minimal post game, kind of. But we're using this time to build. We want to build in activity. We definitely people will be like, oh well, why do you want so many people? Well, you got to have a percentage activity, right? There are a lot of you that do understand this. Like I know there's some of you from support here that we talk about this sometimes. But for those that don't know, and those listening to this recording, if you can get 512, which is the max, you're not seeing 512 people online at one time. You're seeing a percentage. So there might be, the PST prime time might have, 40 people on, and out of those 40, how many, maybe 10 are chatting. That's not like overwhelming whatsoever. But you have people that don't know about those percentage values of activity, and they think, oh, 500 people? Oh my God, like that's overwhelming. I don't want to join. I'll just be another face in the crowd. But that's not true. That's not true. That's not true at all. I think it's a very good number that they picked for the cap in this game, because if it was larger than that, then it would probably become a little bit overwhelming, even for leaders, even for us when we're used to dealing with all kinds of different events and activities and stuff. So that's a really good percentage, and if we can get up closer to the cap, where we were at around Endwalker launch, thanks to the ultra hype of the story finale of Endwalker and the WoW exodus that was going on at the time, which really pushed us up there without us even trying. Like the app box was full like every day. It was crazy. But if we can kind of slowly build in number, we can also see a higher percentage in chat. We're going to see more people jumping in to help with things. We're going to see more recruits promoting over time. And that's really, really, really what we want to see. That's a huge part of our Novus Lux Aeternum era our Ascension project, because those who come into Azure as a new face tomorrow, in 6 months, might be a super active scout that might be looking at becoming a next captain or maybe a lieutenant and things like that, and getting more involved. So, or like I said earlier, might just become a community presence that everybody adores and becomes a big part here. So, recruitment is very very important, and like I know there are some people that help with our apps, but a huge percentage of the time I'm having to run the recruitment and like all myself, which I don't mind. I always done it. But it would be amazing. I'm using this I'm using this platform as a chance to say this. It would be amazing if anybody else wanted to help with that, because I have some macros where you don't even have to worry about really saying much besides some of what the macros cover, because they're clear, they're concise. They mention our no drama policy and our link to our rules page. People don't have to read the charter to join, because the recruitment text covers it. We just make sure they have a link so they can't say they were never linked. And anybody that might want to step up and give a hand with helping build up our roster, the quicker we do it, and I'm not saying bum rush like 100 people into the FC. I mean just a few a week or whatever would really 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 boost our activity. And then we're going to get our rankings back up. We're going to see more interest in people joining and things like that. And we can actually weather this low period of the game even stronger together if we have more people working on that. And that would be, oh my god, that would be amazing. um, that's on my wish list for Santa right now, is bring me more people that are interested in helping us recruit, so we can get higher activity, bigger parties, more stuff flowing. Oh man, that'd be great. Like I said earlier, we are thankful for what activity we have, but we are very much in the mindset of building, and this is a great time to build, especially on the way up to Dawn Trail. So with promotions and overhauling things or condensing information, everything else that I've just talked about, and everything above. The other stuff that we really want to accomplish during this Ascension project, which is kind of ongoing, doesn't really have like a set time date on it, but getting all that for the community and the FC, excuse me, getting all that worked out and built up is mostly the core of what really makes up this Ascension project, this next big step into the future for Azure. And of course that includes our Azure Wings, which we would like to kind of recognize as a early access type thing. So like you might say, oh well, I see ESO, SOTOR, Guild Wars 2, Destiny 2, and Phantasy Star on the list, but I don't see a whole lot of activity. Well, sometimes we do have like small rosters in those that don't always join Discord, but we're also building them and we're having them set for the future. So just because you don't see a lot right now doesn't mean that those channels might not be lit up in the near future, because our purpose for having them right now is the fact that we have interested parties and leaders who are actually working on content. So Major and I, maybe a few other people of various ranks, are slamming content in those games to get caught up, so that way we can effectively lead them. But you might be wondering, how are you going to lead 6 games at one time? Well, that's why we consider them casual and in early access right now. You can join them before there's any events in them, and get started early. Maybe we'll work on some content to get familiar with it, and then later on we'll treat them very similar to our Destiny Wing, where we're always in 14, but we go, oh, we're gonna pop over here and do a community night over here, and it doesn't affect any events in 14. It completely is outside of and around those. If we have so many people in the future that things can happen concurrently and provide even more options for members, without sacrificing attendance or anything like that in 14, great. But for now, it's something that people can either get involved with or just casually enjoy for a little bit. I know we have somebody in the community that's like only in Guild Wars 2, and they're like oh, we only have a few people over there, and like yeah, but that's kind of how it is right now. We're getting more folks established before we make the full thing. But if they want to join ahead of time, the guilds are open for joining. So SOTOR, we actually don't have the guild. We have the people, but we don't have the actual thing made because we got to get enough people online at the same time to do it, and it's just kind of been on the back burner. But ESO is very close to having at least one event in a week. And like I said, Destiny is in a good spot, and we've got clan recruitment running now officially on Reddit. So we've been seeing a few new faces over in Destiny pop in who haven't joined us in our weekly event yet, but are enjoying the clan nonetheless. And then, of course, Azure Infinitum podcast. I know we have a lot of people in the community that enjoyed checking our podcast. It's not something that we ever want to see like well, okay, it'd be nice if we did, but we're not trying for like, thousands of views in a popular podcast. It's actually more of an additional thing like this, like what we're doing here today. Instead of having, a live assembly or only being topics, it'll also be a chance for hosts to talk about other things because Azure Net, for example, does create and post content not just for the games that we play, but also other games as well, and other media, sometimes anime news and some things like that. And we like to talk about that and also have folks that listen to the podcast get to know us and our podcast cast, podcast cast, a little bit more closely. So it does provide a way for folks on the go. You might be like, oh, I'm driving to work for an hour or whatever. Throw on Azure Infinitum podcast and not only hear a few updates about the FC, but also listen to us ramble and joke about some silly things and have some fun with the episodes that we release there. Usually try to do that about every couple of weeks. It has been on hiatus. We first went on hiatus, I think, at the end of October or November in order to rethink the podcast. We wanted to kind of say like, okay, we had a couple people that were interested in like taking a break for a bit and a couple others that were like going to come on as podcast members. It's okay if we have someone pop in from the community that's like, hey, I'd really like to be on the show and like just chat for a bit with you guys, or for 1 week or something like that, and have a special guest or something from the community show up, or folks that are regular. But we had a couple like wanting to take a break, and then we had just kind of like, let's rethink the format a bit, make something new for it. But that's also close to the time that my mother passed, and I was very, very busy. So it's been on hiatus since then. And of course, right now we're looking at kind of rebooting that with a whole new podcast cast. And I like saying that cast, podcast cast. And so if those of you in the community might be interested in chatting for an hour and having it recorded and then being on our podcast, let us know. Let us know if you're interested. I'd like to get that up soon. Major and I we're probably going to record a special episode to kick it off, and then we'll have a more organized team in the near future. But we will be bringing that back. Like I said, it's another nice mid-month thing to listen to that, we'll talk about the community as well as some other fun stuff. I know we had a really good time ranking announcements from the Game Awards and talking about those results and stuff like that. Things like that was really fun when we did that. And events in general, I want everybody to know that events are mostly something that go unchanged over a period of time. We would like to better fine-tune the protocol for hosts who provide our attendees with the quick grouping and successful events. But we also want to be placing our event schedule on hiatus just before Dawn Trail's release. It's going to give everybody a little bit of a break, maybe a few weeks beforehand, and time to prepare for that expansion launch because those are big. Events will also re-roll out after Dawn Trail's release. So this is our, what is this, 5th expansion? Heaven's Word? Heaven's Word, Stormblood, Shadowbringers. Yeah, okay, so that's a 5th expansion. Almost called Dawn Trail is almost a Golden Legacy because that's what's called in Japanese. But Dawn Trail will be our fifth rodeo of coming into a big expansion launch, and then putting our events on hiatus and then taking a break. Hey, I see Major join the stage.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to get done before you went to final thoughts.
Oh, actually, about to do raffle, and then there's another chunk.
Okay, so right before we do the raffle.
Yeah. Okay. One more thing, real quick here, is let me see here. No, no. Hold on, got 2 pages going. Ascension project, and we talked about our website. Discord updates. Those of you that have checked our Discord today, wow, what a change, right? We have a lot of channels that were either consolidated, like our media chat now covers like movies and TV and music and video and stuff like that, because it's we got to the point, just like with our rules page, like I mentioned earlier, over 10 years, you start adding things and then you realize, like, oh, maybe we don't need all the things. Maybe some things could be more condensed, which also puts more of a focus on chat in those things. So chat isn't so spread out, and it doesn't seem like it's dead. It's just like more focused. And then the wings were all combined into one category. And a few other things were changed. Of course, the addition of this assembly channel, and it's a little bit shorter of a list too. And for those that are in council and support, can actually collapse those categories, so that way 14 and below are much closer to the top of the list, and we can see things like right at the top. So we're try to have a variety of channels while also having our global community content as well as 14 on the same list. And I think we've managed to get that list pretty nice. So the Discord, I mean, there's some Discords with like 100 channels or whatever the max is. It's a lot more. It's like 3 times that length. But we definitely shortened it up and tried to make it to where it's all kind of like, if say you're not in any of the wings and you want to collapse that category, you can. You can also go to the channel list editor and actually have it to where you can customize what channels that you want to see in our server too. Um, but um, but yeah, go ahead, Major. What did you want to bring up for the raffle here?
As most of you know, or some of you actually know, that I have been working closely with some of you guys on training and learning how to host events. Hikaru, would you come up to the podium?
Oh, let me see. Yeah, turn around and
First, 2 of our members are present and 2 are not. Cecily and Emma, would you guys come up to the podium? You 2 represent 4 of the recent members that I have been working with, as well. Lolly and Winnie the Pooh, getting you guys as our newest scout captains. Uh, I really have enjoyed working with you guys on working on not only the training, but have enjoyed how you guys have taken over your roles as scout captains, and have been working with people in your respective events to keep the events running smoothly. And I really, really have enjoyed that time with you guys. Too bad Lolly and Winnie couldn't be here. So um, the next person I would like to ask to come up to the podium is Veshwin, if you're there. You and I need to sit down and go over some stuff, but I'm officially at this point promoting you to scout, and your rank in Discord will change as well. And then Hikaru can change your rank in game. I will change it here in a few minutes in Discord. Little bit later, I'll sit down and go over some things with you as far as being a scout. And I really appreciate having you in Azure. It's been a pleasure hanging out with you and getting to know you. And welcome to the team.
yeah, welcome to assist.
And
Also,
for the rest of you guys, I would like to let all of you know that there is always room to come up. If you're interested, feel free to reach out to me. I will personally work with you on training and learning the ropes of what you would need to know to assist in whether it's just being a scout or learning how to even host events and whatnot. Again, appreciate everybody that has been working with me to keep Azure we're running smoothly. Really appreciate all of you.
Yeah, I just want to add on to that. Thank you, Major, for putting in lots of effort. Every A lot of people sometimes will ask, like, what does this member of the council do? What does that member of the council do? And, like, there's a reason why everybody's on council, and there's always something that they have that is kind of like their unique thing as well. Major has been working really, really heavily, especially since it just before and before even becoming my hand in our community, to really touch base with those that are interested in getting more active, and kind of helping me save a little bit of time with promotions and event training and such like that. So, I want to thank you, Major. And of course, our scout captains in attendance. You guys, we've built an awesome assist corps and scout captain team, as well as our scouts and sergeants that are active and engaging with the community. So I want to thank all of you as well. Restock the food in the house or the chest.
So I have one more person that we did not
Okay.
acknowledge yet.
Oh yeah,
And
we'll do it.
Rakvasha, would you come up to the podium? You and Defensor, unfortunately, Defensor is not with us this evening. Both of you guys came up around the same time. And again, I appreciate working with you. As I said with Cecily and Emma, Winnie, Lolly, Defensor, all of you guys have been like a blessing in disguise working with. Um, Getting to know you guys outside of like events and hanging out with you guys on a daily basis, and training you guys to help with events and whatnot. Um, it has been awesome, and Rack has been in the FC almost as roughly about the same length of time I have. So it has been a pleasure working with all of you guys. Believe me, without all of you guys, I don't know what I would be doing right now.
So our members 100% make up the lifeblood of our community, and those that step up further to assist with this or that in Azure, whether it's like I said earlier, once a week you throw in your hand to help with this, or or maybe you're helping donate as a member to airship projects, or maybe you stepped up to help with hosting. That's very much what we need in our community. Folks that are active and engaging, as well as, of course, everyone is welcome, including our lurkers and such. But the ones that take that extra step, we want to, try our best to always recognize, like we did here. And not all can make it at the same time. We understand, but we'll try to always go forward with promotions, keeping things lively and ongoing, and recognizing those that kind of take an extra step to get involved. So just want to thank everybody as well, those that were mentioned and were here today, as well as those not with us currently. And yes, get well soon, Defensor.
Yes, very
and
much so.
and Ronan's and recovering from COVID as well.
Yes, he is.
So thank you, Ronan, as well. I'm going to go ahead and hold our next raffle here. We have just a few little things after this, and then we'll do a final raffle and Q&A. So another prize pack ready to be won here, and go ahead and slash random if you'd like to enter. If you entered before, you can enter again. See numbers coming in now. Actually, got my chat colors for that is yellow, so it stands out really well.
Oh my God, Johnny.
Oh, Johnny Major tied. We don't have doubles,
It's
so
okay.
if one of you could re-roll, Major did roll first, the 848. So you don't mind re-rolling, Johnny.
It's all right. If we win, he can have it.
Oh, he just re-rolled. Okay, and I am trying to keep up with comments in game and in the assembly chat here. And we'll definitely be going over Q&A and stuff here. If anybody wants to type a comment or request to speak here in a little bit when we do Q&A.
So while we're waiting on the results, one thing that I would like to say is I'm a big person on like talking to people. I like hearing their voice. So all those people that have been hanging out with me on a daily basis at VC, it has been an absolute pleasure to get to know you guys. And I'm hoping that we can push that where we get more people in VC. I think you
Definitely,
can grow a more of a personal relationship with people when you hear their voice. Things tend to be less taking out of context when you can hear voice. So for me, I'm more of a I like to hear you.
yeah, just speaking of transparency overall, as well as getting to know someone, Um, yeah, the funny thing for us is always a very curious, interesting thing. Um, it's when we're problem solving with somebody that has never voiced with us and such. They may not know us. We may not know them. But one little bump in the road happens and leave the FC, and then all of a sudden it's Azure is corrupt. It's like it's kind of comical. Um, but yeah, it's more than just that though. Getting to know each other, is ideal, of course. Oh, thanks for putting a copy of that in Discord as well, Aria. It definitely helps. Yeah, you know what's really funny? Just to comment on that, the cult jokes in chat right now is hilarious. Is It's really funny how much of a buzzword that is. Ooh, scary cult. It's kind of comical in a way, and it makes you wonder what players who kind of throw that out there at different FCs that are organized, what they're actually expecting. Because it's like you have an organized group and people don't know also that you're a global community as well, and maybe you're uniform, maybe you have protocol, etc., to keep things organized, and then that that terminology, it's like, okay, well, I guess if that's what it is, then Colt takes on a new meaning. I guess it means organized group. Yeah, yep, exactly. I'm about to get out my drill and drill for some oil. You're right, Vish. Hey, saves on gas. All right, let's go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and random here. Oh, I didn't call time. Let me call time. Time. All right. All right. Well, that's good, Arya. That's good that she loves Kool-Aid. Yeah, as they say, we got a lot of Kool-Aid. I'm going to go ahead and random. And number closest to 882. 882. Oh, my lord, Major. That was Major and Johnny's first number was really, really close to that.
Track Vasha.
Rakvasha is extremely close, yeah. 882. Rock is 879. Just double
Congrats, Rack.
checking. Yep. Looks like Rock. Congrats, Rock Basha. Come up in. Oh yeah, you're right here. You don't have to get up. Let me see here. Okay, so Rock Basha gets a what is that called? Bantam train, a zoo horn, and a Gabriel Alpha. That's funny in chat. 10 times the zoo horns. You get a zoo horn, and you get a zoo horn. Everybody gets a zoo horn. And for those wondering of the zoo horn joke, that started many years ago, like probably 6 or 7 years ago, or if not more. We had a zoo horn that would appear in our Azure auction that we would do at Azure Days. We still do them sometimes. And the zoo horn kept getting put, the same one actually, kept getting put back in the auction. And so we had a running gag where somebody would buy it and then redonate it. And a couple times we had other zoo horns that were a mystery prize that would be bidded on for millions, millions upon millions. I think there was a good 10 million zoo horn one time, but it all went to the chest and it helped fund Azure. But it was kind of comical. Speaking of our chess funds too, excuse me. So with our fundraising, right? We have weekly fundraising for Treasure Thursdays and Friday Night Treasure Fights, as well as one week of the month, which is the first Thursday and the first. Guys are making me laugh. Drilling for ranch. That's even better. But the first Thursday and the first Friday is a fundraising. So just to be clear, that when we do our oldest tradition, where we track 50% of the gill, it's the dropped gill. And so during our map events, you're going to walk out with probably, I don't know, just a random figure, anywhere upwards from a couple 100,000 gil to much more in mats. And so the mats, I've seen people make over 10 mil off of mats, not the dropped gill. But a lot of times we'll see roughly in the range of like maybe 80,000 on the low end if it's a bad night, maybe 150 to 200 something thousand on a good night, and that's with the deposit that we calculate for fundraising. So obviously joining the event means you're agreeing to the fundraising. We always make that clear as much as possible. It's on all the posters, well, not the posters themselves, but the descriptions with the posters usually, and just to cover any confusion out there on why we do our fundraising. Well, it goes to our chest. If you see, the chest right now is 170 million. That's not bad, but it's also somewhat small compared to what we have done in the past, where we were giving out some really big prizes during Azure Day. So people might say, "Oh, well, why keep fundraising? Isn't 170 million enough?" It's actually, if we were to hold a roughly 40 million investment Azure Day like we used to, it would eat through that. So we definitely definitely want to keep our fundraising up, and any donations help, because the more prizes, the bigger we can make these Azure Days. And we don't want them to be hundreds of millions, but we want to at least get that decent number in there where we can provide a lot of really higher end prizes. Prize donations, we usually, a lot of people ask, like, what's a good prize donation? Like, what's the range? Um, we love the thought. It's the thought that counts. We love the intention. But if we're getting donations of really, really cheap stuff, and even stuff that might be like maybe 100K, is kind of like, I know that might be a lot to some newer players, but it's very, very small in terms of, we want to have stuff that's at least maybe in the 200K plus range. Makes a decent, flash raffle prize, or something that would be like a maybe a place prize, because our first place prizes are usually a couple mil, and stuff like that. It's kind of in that range. Um, and I know some folks have hundreds of millions of gil saved up, and they're like, "Oh, that's small, even," But then we also have to think about the folks that are, don't always have deep coffers, and we try to keep a range of prizes within the 200K plus range for prize donations, and also want to make sure we don't overload the chest with too many simple mats and things like that. So that's kind of just an idea of the range there, for those that have been curious in the past. So we have a few more things to talk about, and then we'll do our final raffle and Q&A, and touch base on all this fun stuff we've been talking about. So far, we have covered our new format, reintroduction with my new character name and such, and why I went there. Welcoming our new members, discussing our ranks. We discussed the Ascension project, our event status updates and changes, lots of voice chat and building social interaction, website and Discord updates, Dawn Trail launch event pauses and rollouts, and our Grade 3 project for EXP and buffs that are coming. And now I would like to start Phase 3 with what we call the Council Floor. I know Major just shared quite a bit of thoughts, but I wasn't sure. Did you have anything else that you wanted to bring up, Major, before we move on to the final segment here?
Yeah, just basically reiterate kind of some of the things that you brought up.
Mm-hmm.
Getting uh, people to come up in ranks that'll be interested in helping with like recruitment. Um, Getting people that are coming up in ranks that would be interested in uh, learning to host events and becoming trained with hosting events.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, we're open pretty much on the ranks coming all the way up to lieutenant at the moment. It's not an instant thing. It does take some time. Um, but we're trying to build um, a council of people that are like-minded people, not yes men, but like-minded. Um, we want to build a friendship with everybody that's coming up, so that way we all work together, and we can cohesively work together and not have anybody that wants to branch off and be a
Yep.
clique or anything else. We want that camaraderie. So one of the things that we are going to be doing once council members come up, and we're going to do this eventually with Scout ranks as well, is we're going to do like a council night to where we go and do something that is non-14, and just hang out with each other and bullshit with each other. So that way we can, build that camaraderie with each other. And we want to do that with Scout ranks as well, to where, we're building a friendship, a family that we're all working for the same goal.
Vesh has a comment really quick. I'm gonna let him come up to the stage.
Yeah.
Hey, Vesh.
And just on that exact note, one recommendation, something I did recently with some friends in another channel, is the Discord activities. There are games. They have their fun little games. One I played was called Gartic Phone, and it's basically the phone game as far as passing along meets um, uh, brain farting, but you draw pictures like somebody you have to write a basic sentence and then it passes to a random person. You draw a picture using your mouse, so and it's just and it goes through like cycling through, and at the very end of it, when it's all done, you get to see a bunch of things. You get to see the chain
Mm-hmm.
of
Mm-hmm.
events. So it's like Pictionary meets the phone game. Just one example, something like that could be perfect, I think, for what you're talking about. Something just to hang out, do something silly, fun, easy, low brain power, and something like that. And it's already built into Discord where you don't even have to worry about developing the tools for it.
Yeah.
That's all I
Okay.
wanted to say was bring up as a suggestion since it was right on point.
Excellent. Thank you, Vesh. So, tacking onto that, what you said, Vesh. So, like whether it's a like really popular game everybody has, or something that everybody will automatically have because it's in Discord. Those are definitely thoughts that we have in mind. Like I know in the past we had quite a bit of people within the Discord that really enjoyed doing like a Cards Against Humanity online. That's free to play. That we would all pop into and have some pretty hilarious nights there. Or like Vesh said, Discord activities can also be fun. Hang out and play a simple Discord game, um, as well as like a community game night that we did mention at a previous assembly. Where we're talking about, like I said, finding a popular game that quite a bit of people might have, or say ahead of time what we might do. I don't know, a shooter night or a puzzle night or something like that, just to continue to add to just things we can do, like as a group or as a community, whether it is ranks getting to know each other and or building that camaraderie within the FC, all ranks, as well. Was there anything else that you want to talk about, Major?
No, I was gonna roll into the doing a community wide one as well. But you
Yeah.
you
Oh,
covered it.
okay, okay, yeah. Yeah, that's definitely
It's
something
all
we want to
good.
do more of, because we also want to make sure that people understand too, like that, like I said, we are a global community. So Discord is where like ranks are what I call anchored. They're anchored in Discord. If something hasn't changed yet elsewhere in another, in a guild or an in-game environment or whatever, they're always going to be most fresh and current on Discord. Usually, if somebody gets ranked on Discord, we'll update it within a day or so. If not, then it just means that like I haven't logged into 14 for a day or something. Um, but uh, but ranks are anchored in Discord, and they're global across our different guilds. So if you're a scout in one thing, you're going to be a scout in another thing, and that just means scouts, like I said before, are our basic moderators, folks that keep an eye on chat and can help with applications, and also are designated as people that pop in to jump in to help with things every now and then, and are also the first ones viable for ranking it further. So with universal ranks, universal charter, and being a global community, we want to also press that we have our wings, we have 14, our crown jewel, but we also have some other little fun side activities for the Discord as well. So definitely want to see more of that in the near future. If you didn't have anything else major, I'm going to wrap up with a couple shout outs to a few of our services, and then give a final thought that I wanted to share with everybody, and then we'll hold Q&A.
Free to go.
Okay. So we've talked quite. I did have a Sys shout out on the notes here, but we've talked about Scout quite a bit here. I do want to remind everybody that let me see. I'm pulling up the official list here. One second. There it is. I know that social media is not for everybody. Some might use a limited form. Some might be on everything. But I just wanted to remind everybody that outside of our global website, azurenet.com, and azureinfinitum.com for our community site, we are on Instagram, where we do post our event posters are pinned there. So if you're like on Insta and you're like, I wonder what events we have in Azure, you can always check the pins on our Insta. And then we'll post the news updates that you'll see coming in for different games from 14 to Destiny and beyond, as well as community content. We do sometimes we'll share, like, members will post a really cool screenshot and we'll highlight it and credit them over there, as well as maybe some of our other socials. We are also on Threads, which is Meta's new Twitter-like alternative. We have an Azure Tumblr that was recently revived. We're on Blue Sky, which I know some people really enjoy using more than Twitter. We also have a Mastodon, which is very similar, another Twitter alternative. Content on those are kind of just cross-posted, cross-shared. So it's like if you're on one or two, you might see some similar content on the others. But it's also really great alternatives. And we want to be sensitive to everybody's like preferences too. Like some might really hate Twitter/X, and it might be like Blue Sky and Mastodon all the way. And so we provide content there as well. We also have an Azure Pinterest, believe it or not, where we'll actually pin products associated with the games we support, while also sharing like videos, screenshots, and content from our community, and news as well that you can follow on there. It's not really built to be a news site, but we do also combine that. I have one personally where I also take the Azure stuff posted on Pinterest and pin it on mine as well. And we also have recently joined Hive Social, which is another X/Twitter alternative. Hive also focuses a lot on media in general, and so that's also another place for Azure to kind of thrive and get news out there. I've already had a couple people reach out who saw it and they're like, "Wow, what is this?" It's a new thing being added on there. Making use of those hashtags and everything. And of course, we have our YouTube. One change to our YouTube recently is that we're also now making YouTube posts, not just videos. So if you check your YouTube feed and you're watching some videos and you scroll down, you're going to see on your feed that there are actually news posts from Azure, as well as community screenshots and content that's going to be being posted as posts. And you can see what some of those posts look like by going to our YouTube page, which is youtube.com/@AzureInfinitum. And then you can go over to the community tab on the Azure channel, and you'll see some of those posts as well. And also for those that are on PC, we have a Steam group. Not a lot of people know about that because it's not super widely widely used, but I will often try to put our biggest announcements over on the Steam group. So if you're on Steam and you check your groups or look at your activity feed, you might see an Azure update every now and then. You can even subscribe to it to see it more often. And of course, we have our podcast, which is a playlist on YouTube that you can also follow, to where a new episode comes in and you've subscribed to the channel, you follow the podcast playlist, bam, you'll get a notification when a new Azure podcast is posted. So those are kind of more attempts of ours to branch out and give our members and those that follow our community a chance to keep up to date with Azure. So that way, it's not just like, if I didn't check the announcements on Discord, I missed something. You actually get a chance to see all of that and more on all of those services. So that's quite a bit. I've got a lot going on now where it's easier for me than ever to cross share across all of that. And of course, some of it's a little unique. So you might see a little bit of a different form on one. Like for example, Blue Sky doesn't add videos, so some of the videos I share or reels that we share now will not be on there, but there'll be a different form of the same information on those until they add video or whatever. So you might see trailers, reels. Maybe like for Guild Wars 2, they add a lot of stuff to their cash shop, and you're going to be getting updates on there too if you follow that game from Azure as well. So that's pretty cool, and things like that. So I just wanted to shout out our socials and let everybody know what the options are that are out there, because I think some people may be unaware. They're like, "Wow, what is this Hive thing? Why is Azure on that?" And etc. Pinterest. Wow, suggested products and things. That's interesting. None of it's affiliated. None of it's like, we're not getting like ad revenue off any of it though. It's literally just to be an extra convenience for our community. We have a couple affiliate ads on the websites that we own, but they're not they're not bringing in much, but a few cents, and they're just there. In hopes that they provide additional products for our community. Because sometimes we get some really cool bonus codes that we'll give out. We get some neat coupons too. I'm partnered with JList and PlayAsia, and so it's rare. It's like once in a while we'll mention it in an announcement or something. Use code blah 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 for whatever. And then when if and when we do actually get anything off of that, we usually put it right back into website hosting. So. But that's there. Our socials are out there. Search popular sites and find us on them. Give us a little follow. It does help our algorithms, and just like with our company credits, it helps exposure. So more exposure means more activity, means more fun for all, and more possibility too. And with that, I do want to mention a final thought here. Final thought of the whole assembly. And I did want to say too, I appreciate those that have been chatting too, because it's awesome to see people like active and chatting throughout an assembly. Isn't that better than like sitting in a chair and just kind of hearing announcements and then not moving for 2 hours? Like we've got Discord assembly chat and in-game assembly chat at the same time, and it's really refreshing. Um, and in-game chat's talking about bathwater. All right. So my final thought here is I wanted to take a moment before we end announcements and go into Q&A, to reassure our community and those listening, fun is our goal. Our goal is fun. At the end of the day, if we had 5 people one day say that they had a good time that day in an event or enjoyed Azure, then our mission is accomplished. This whole thing that we're doing, and especially leaders and I are spending an enormous amount of time on keeping everything stable and fun for everybody. Um, we're not exactly getting paid for this, so our reward is the fact that we want to see the community grow and succeed. So that's our reward. Seeing people have fun, seeing people have a good time, and making friends along the way is even a bigger bonus. We want to make sure that everybody understands that we will never be a guild that expects people's time, like expects it, or has any rules based on like time outside of our 60-day MIA thing and etc. Which is extremely generous. There's FCs out there that we see all the time that say if you're not on within 3 days, you're kicked and you can't come back, and that's like absolutely insane. It's moronic. It's ridiculous. How are they ever expect to grow if they do that? What we like to do is we like to understand that life is a real thing and that we are real people, and we come to this place really as a way to have a good time. I mean, you don't come here to not have a good time, So to get away from life, have a good time, and want to make sure that while we have an organization, we have protocol, we have rules to keep things orderly. It's not ever about any form of control or weird trying to overrule everybody or anything strange like that. just to talk about the elephant in the room, there are folks out there that have reviewed our community who have never joined it at all, never spent much time in it, and those that may have done that but became, disgruntled by an action that may have happened, maybe a strike was given or a ban or something, and have reviewed our community over being this like unsavory, like unfriendly, strict environment where people are like used for their attendance and then just spat out and stuff like that. And that's, if you've been here for any length of time, you're going to realize that that's like complete bull crap. And I just want to make sure that we address some recent feedback and be down to earth and transparent with you guys, and whether it's the purposes of our fundraising, our why we've consolidated info, um, my outlook of our community and our leaders' outlook, and the scouts that assist and everybody, that we know what our purpose is here, and also that we're aware, of why we're here, what we do, and the fact that we thrive and celebrate what we've accomplished. So when we have a parade, that's because we get to that point of the year where we're ready to celebrate an Azure Day and our community. It's not abnormal whatsoever to see a community do a parade. It's not unique either. Other people do it. Other people do community parades. Guilds have done this for 20, 30, 40 years, as long as there's been gaming guilds. And when we do it, we walk together to celebrate what we have accomplished together. Obviously, we put work into something that's growing here, so we celebrate it. Um, Sometimes these things are misunderstood. Sometimes people see all the blue tabards and they think, oh, well, those guys are weird. Why do they all do that? It's just a video game, right? But when you say just a game, I've never ever liked that term, because it kind of takes away from the fact that, well, real people aren't just a game. Real people are real people. So you can't call them just a game. You know what I mean? If we, this is our platform, right? This is what we use to interact. So if we had something else as our platform, like a meeting lodge or something in real life, not trying to sound like a cult here, but if we had a meeting place in real life, we would all have some kind of orderly fashion of meeting, and would also have celebrations, etc. So understanding what a guild is, not a cult, what a guild is very important. And the fact that we have created something that is at least mildly unique, I would think, within that guild space and understanding, is something that I know I'm really proud of, and I know a lot of you are proud of our community, and and I wanted to take this time to share that final thought. Um, there is always a reason for why things happen, why things are. If there's something in the rules, there's a good reason. There's always an explanation. If anybody is ever questioning anything, want to know why something happened, why something is written, or what it means, or what it is, or what's expected, etc., etc., anything, can always reach out. We have a million avenues of communication. Um, we don't mean to sound harsh when saying this, but I think I can speak for all of our leaders that if there's something that you don't know or you're concerned about and you haven't spoken up to ask about it, it's kind of your fault if you don't know, because we provide so much information and chances to talk with us. You can DM me literally any time of day or night, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. And I know our leaders will say the same thing. Um, so, any questions about the FC's operation, how to get more involved, what content on the site means, and more. Everybody is always welcome to communicate here. We want to make sure that that never changes in Azure. And with that being said, I want to thank everybody for coming today, and I want to hold our final raffle here. So don't run off just yet. We got one more here. Oh, I'm rolling over my mic cord. There we go. And just after we do this raffle, those of you that are here are invited to stay for just a little bit longer and post any questions, or maybe if you have like a static announcement, or you're recruiting members for one, or if you've got a wedding coming up, or if you want to ask a question about anything discussed here today or otherwise, stick around for Q&A. You can either request to speak in the assembly channel, or post something in one of our chats here. So let me hold the raffle real quick before we enter that phase. This is our third and final raffle of the assembly, and I hope you guys are liking this format. Go ahead and let me know what you think of this format. Did you guys find this a bit more personal and entertaining than and informative than the usual assembly, let us know. We like to know how we're doing, so you know if people are liking this. We see numbers coming in right now. I'll go ahead and slash random. Slash random to enter now. Let's see, we got numbers coming in. All right. I think that's just about everybody that's here. If you're here with us and you haven't rolled yet, or if you're away and you want to get here real quick, let us know. About a minute, and we'll go ahead and call time. See, we got a trio of Moogles dancing over here. Love the blue glams, guys. Great company spirit. Like we always let people know, it's not mandatory by any means, but it does show company spirit, which is pretty cool. Some folks have some crested gear as well, displaying the Azure crest. You guys liking this format so far? Oh, whoops, I put the wrong key. Oh, I get it now. Darnile is dressed up as ranch dressing. Get it? Dressing in a ranch style. Ranch dressing. All right, I'm going to go ahead and call time. All right. Gonna random roll here. And remember, the closest roll to mine is going to win a prize pack from the Azure prize pool. 150. 150 is the number. Wow. Been rolling low today. Two low rolls for me. Let's see. 150 is the closest one. I see Major with a 130. Let's see. This one's 122, but it's a little off. Any of the high 100s or low 200s? Well, 130 is only 20 away, so it looks like it's going to be Major. Unless I'm missing something. Please correct me if I am. No, yep, it's looking like Major, yep. All right, congrats, Major.
I'll be holding a raffle when we're done.
Oh, Major's going to hold a raffle.
Heard the prizes that I just won?
Do you want me to hold it right now then, or?
No, I was joking.
I
was joking.
Oh, okay. So Major wins a Kuramaru, a big shell whistle, and a zoo horn. Congrats, Major. All right. Now, oh my God, it's not letting me sit in my chair. This item came out and I had to use it. It was awesome. I'm like, yep, that's gonna complete my wing chair here. Ah, there we go. Okay. So real quick, for those that don't want to stay with Q&A for Q&A, thank you so much for coming. We really hoped you liked this format. If you didn't like the format, please let us know. We want to know if it's positive or negative. What you guys thought. Did I talk too long? Did we spend too long on one topic? Was there any awkward pauses or things that could have been done better? If if there's other things that you thought that we missed or should have brought up, or if we got something wrong somewhere, please let us know. You can do that either privately in DM or in one of our chats here. We don't mind either way. We'll address that and try to do better next time if there's any feedback like that. Otherwise, please use the request to speak option in the assembly channel here if you'd like to comment, give feedback, proposals, ideas, commenting on the stuff we talked about today. Any of that, or like I said, announcements of your own. If you've got a wedding or a static or anything like that you wanted to announce, this is definitely the place. This is the de facto place to do that. while we have those here in attendance as well as those listening later on YouTube. So first we have we have Veshwin, who has put request to speak. Hey Vesh.
Okay, thank you very much.
Hmm.
First, I don't have any kind of wedding announcements. That's not going to
Okay.
happen.
Hey, you never know.
My first thing is on top of fantasy, D&D style type stuff, Final
Uh huh.
Fantasy being a huge thing I like is also sci-fi, Star Trek, that kind of stuff.
Nice.
And so if there's anybody that's into, like, I'm definitely down for going into, the Star Wars, the Old Republic, that's already a burgeoning whatever community, but also Star Trek Online, just something fun to pop into and play. But very much so, Star Citizen, which yes has been a very dicey thing for a long time. It's finally starting to come into its own as far as they've worked out and fleshed out a lot of different quality of life stuff and
Mm-hmm.
systems through their single player version of the game, Squadron 42. And so they've reallocated stuff over to the Star Citizen side of things on top of being able to implement them. And so in the next year or so, some very exciting like updates, and it's going to be a lot more fun, a lot more game like instead of tech demo like. Hopefully, as long as things stay on track the way they say they are. So I'd like to keep an eye on that if we could as a community, as something else that we can maybe pop into, and just something I would like to see if there's any interest in, because I definitely would love to be able to do that if it progresses the way that it seems like it's going to. That's the first thing.
Definitely some good
Second,
thoughts.
yeah, second, definitely want to put out there for game nights and stuff. Bricks definitely shows some interest in, especially at drinking game nights, doing like the Discord enabled games and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So even without drinking, but if people are interested, also maybe like a drinking game night too, something like that, we can maybe look
Mm-hmm.
into partially like going into or something just to as again another social thing for us and seeing what kind of rules might be implied with that or whatever else. Because obviously we want to keep this a place that's safe and fun for everybody,
Mm-hmm.
whether you drink or not, but also encourage those that if we want to have a drinking game night event,
Mm-hmm.
something that you know what I mean, something along those lines, so that we're not leaving people out, but also not alienating. And then the third thing is with the advent of Dawn Trail coming out and the new zone that we're going to have for relics, and there's been talk about the free company eventually opening back up their event for the relic zone type stuff, is
Mm-hmm.
to maybe as a precursor early on, if there's anybody that has interest in the current relic zones, you know Eureka and Bastia, maybe setting up not an event but a loose affiliation to kind of start getting together and meeting on that might also align or coalesce with future FC plans as far as that kind of stuff
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
to get that kind of going. I would also really like to be interested in something like that as well.
Okay.
So those are the three things I wanted to bring up and mention in case anybody has any thoughts, ideas, concerns, anything on those different things. So
Let me comment on those things. So let me see. The with a lot of what you mentioned is like spurring, some additional activity, whether it's games we support or games we could support, as well as ideas for events with like the field operation content. So a lot of that there's one broad thing I wanted to say that covers a lot of that, which is the fact that we are working on making our LFG services here a little bit more fluid for members to kind of like create a grouping or a gathering of something that they're interested in to get other parties for. And also wanted to say that sometimes to get a new event, or maybe not a full scale event, but something that kind of regularly happens that you could get people into doing that may or may not become an event, we do need like a person that's very interested that spearheads that as well. So if Vesh or anybody that has similar ideas, it's really helpful, especially to the council that's kind of already like managing a lot of stuff, to have someone spearhead ideas that will create like an LFG, listing on our new raid helper bot and what we're doing for the LFG channel soon here, to kind of have a regularly occurring member-made event. That can also assist council and say, hey, council, here's this thing I've been putting together for a number of weeks that seems to be popular. With your help, we could also broadcast it to the whole community, and that's where we take something new and we go, oh, like way, 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 way back in the day when Wondrous Wednesdays became a thing. It was members grouping up midweek to do a midweek Wondrous Tales thing before the thing expired or whatever, and then we go, wow, this is popular and fun and casual. We're talking way back like 2016. So when we discover new things like that and folks are coming up with those kind of ideas, it really helps. With other games, like you mentioned, non-wing games, there are viable platforms, as we call them, or AKA games, that Azure can grow into if there's enough people that have interest and they are also viable in the long term. And even if not, that's also cool. We'd love to see, because we are a global community. So seeing people say like, hey, if there's like 4 or 5 of us that want to group up over in this, like Star Trek or something, for example, go for it. Go for it. We're a global community. Don't think of Azure as just 14. Even if you're only playing 14, think of us as a global community that our crown jewel is 14. Um, and know that everybody is welcome to grab someone, say like, hey, let's all group up in Division, or let's group up in Call of Duty or whatever. People are more than welcome to do that, because like we all play video games, right? We're all 14 can't be like the only thing that each one of us plays.
So
Yeah.
I'm gonna spin off of what you're talking about.
Hmm.
So we do have it already set up in within Azure to
Hmm.
where if you want to host an event, and you don't even have to be a ranked member, you can be a basic member, and you can say, "Hey, look, I want to do XYZ on a certain day," and you could do an unofficial event. That is already
Yeah.
set up. You can do that anytime you want. If you want to do Eureka, you want to run a Eureka event, you could say, "Hey, I want to have some people come along," and then like Rika or like Kazu said,
Hmm.
if the event picks up and people are coming on a more regular basis, then we can actually make that an event and provide hosting for it and whatnot.
Yeah. Like I said,
So
many
it
people have come up with something very popular in the past. Sorry, go ahead, Fish.
I was gonna say, so that being the case, because I'm even not aware of exactly how that works. If you can maybe
Yes.
briefly and quickly talk through where we can, like, what channel at where it's at and how we can do it, just to make it more common knowledge,
Major.
because I don't know how to do that.
So you could post it in, if it's a Final Fantasy event that you're wanting to do, like Eureka, you post it in Final Fantasy chat in Discord, and then you can also post it in game, and you just need to mark it as an unofficial event.
Well, I think he was also asking about how to use the bot to also LFG
Oh,
stuff.
yeah, you'll have to come to me for now while we set up the
We're,
permissions.
we're gonna make a
And
tutorial too that is
I see.
findable.
So it's in the
so
works.
Yeah.
So it's in the
if
works.
you look
Okay.
in the LFG chat right now in Discord, I've already got one set up that I set up for Cecily. So for now, in the interim, until we get the bot permission set up to where anybody can do it, and we roll out a walkthrough to do it,
Hmm.
um, just come to me with whatever event you're wanting to do. If you want to post it, and then I'll post it for you.
Oh yeah, look at LFG right now. There's that's a really good example, Major, because you can clearly see how it looks. Like I said, we'll post a guide. It's very new. Like we recently got this set up and moved away from Apollo, which was giving us a number of issues for a while. But Raid Helper is really awesome. We're gonna post probably a pin within LFG, and then probably some other places as well, so it's easily accessible. And then let our support team know, in case people have questions, then any scout can just be like, yeah, all you got to do is type this, and then it'll let people know. You go to LFG, and then, like it says there, it shows a little card that says Savage Kokaitos, or however you say that,
Yeah.
and a little description and and who started it, and it says Cecily's name on the top, and so go to LFG chat and just see that example, guys. If you're listening, or if you're listening to this later, you can check it too in the log.
Yeah, just for now, you'll have to come to me with your event ideas while we roll out the permissions and how we're going to do them within Discord.
Okay. Yeah, cool. That's
Did
extremely
you see that
helpful, and
there?
that's exactly what I was on. Yeah. Now, what about things that are outside of 14 though? Events like if I wanted to try and do something for, say, a game night, whether it's
Yep.
drinking or not drinking, for
Same
something
thing.
like
Same thing.
Phone.
You come to me, and I'll set
What
for now, and I'll
channel?
set it up. Yeah, I'll set it up. So we have different channels that are community
Mhm.
channels within
And that
Discord.
and that's
So
what I'm
I
saying.
can set those up in those.
So I'm gonna
What
make
what
a
channel?
I'm gonna
What
make an
channel in
LFG
general should
channel
people
for our
look
gaming
for that?
category. Our gaming category. I'm gonna make an LFG channel, just like the one in 14, because 14 is a little special. There might be
Right.
more people doing that there, but in our gaming category, which is now a little bit easier to find, it'll be an
Very
LFG channel
good.
there, and then also major. When Raid Helper makes one of those, does it get added to the server event section? Because that would be really
No,
nice if it did. Can it?
no,
Yeah.
no,
It can't.
Yeah.
no. Because I'm doing this under something else, which you and I need to talk about
Okay, yeah, we'll
afterwards.
figure
But
it out. Well, we're gonna
Okay.
find a way so that way everybody knows how to do it if they want to, and then it makes it also easy for people to find. That's our main two goals. So, it'll
Yeah.
be when it's all finalized and everything, it'll be announced. So pretty soon, pretty soon. It's like very high on our priority list. But definitely some great input, Vesh. Thank you.
Yep. And thank you guys for the info on that. Like I said,
Oh, for sure.
it'd be great to have this, because if we could have a hub, and if we could like move the gaming thing up towards maybe, or something of that nature, up towards the top near the welcome, where people that are newly joined can see, and then see the other games and stuff too. Like I don't know how that needs to work, and that's totally on y'all.
Yeah,
I'm just wondering something to make it, because scrolling all the way down, new members may not do that.
true. It is a
You know what I
small
mean?
category, so it wouldn't take up too much space if it was moved up a little further. Maybe under 14 or around general or something.
Just for the sake of like making it easier and quicker to
Yeah.
find for people that are interested in more than just the 14
Yeah.
stuff. But that's again up to obviously you guys as far as like how to organize and
Sure. Yeah.
what's there. So just an idea. But thank you.
No problem. Thanks for your input and thanks for taking the stage. Do we have anybody else that wanted the stage to a proposal, feedback, comment, any personal announcements or anything like that? Just click the take the stage button.
so I will touch base
Or in chat as
lightly
well.
on a drinking game. One probably would not be hosted by Azure as an official thing. But if you guys as a group want to get together and do something like that, you're more than welcome to.
I just make sure you know what our community like I said private stuff is on you guys, but like say you're like in our server and doing that, more than welcome to do that and also invite people to do that, but like we do have an intoxication and handling your character policy that's very short, but it's in our charter. It's very easy to find in the table of contents. It's right there. It is just basically like we don't want someone who can't contain themselves to then cause drama through something like that. But that's an extreme case and also like the only concern. But yeah,
And we do also have the make your own VC channels as well. So if you wanted to set up an event, you could use those to cater for an event.
yeah. VC Hangout Create button. That's right under the it's mainly for 14 and the general chat also has one. We also noticed that it seems like there's been some feedback for people asking about channels with lock symbols on them. This morning I actually went through and adjusted that so that way locks aren't appearing on the channels because I think that was making some people think they couldn't join them. Because the lock symbol will appear when you have like really heavy permissions on certain things, and we had some that like didn't really need to be clicked. So None of the VC channels or chat channels, except for maybe a couple that might not be visible or in support, have the lock symbols on them. But yeah, just wanted to mention that that was changed as well. And like Vesh said, since he's not on the stage, he said it would definitely be a non-compulsory thing idea for the drinking game that he was talking about, meaning that if somebody says they're done, they're done. There's no pushing anybody or anything like that. Like Major said, that would definitely be another LFG thing for our members. Let's see. It's Brick's request. Do a non-FF14 game night soon, please, because I love hanging out with you guys. Yes, we love hanging out with you too, and that kind of goes into what we were talking about just a little bit ago about finding more activities as a global community that we can do. That everybody is invited in, whether they have 14 or not, or there's non-14 games like video games, and there's also like Discord activities that anybody could hop into as well. So if we find something that's a very popular title that a lot of people might have, we can shoot for that, and also shoot for just like a Discord minigame type thing as well. So, and then of course, mentioning on 14 games, there is our wings too, which like I said, our early access can be joined anytime, but do not have weekly events set up just yet.
And my door's always open. So if you have questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'm almost always in game. If I'm not at my computer, I will be back shortly. Usually I'm taking care of my daughter. So
Yeah, that's definitely worth mentioning. Sometimes us leaders will get up and have to AFK sometimes in the midst of being very active, and we never want anybody to think that that's like anyone ignoring them. Obviously, if we don't reply right away to something, that just means that we're on our way to get to you, or could be stepped away for like a moment. We are also people. Oh, I see the chat's talking about Borderlands. Yep, yep.
oh, that movie. Ugh.
Well, we're not talking about the movie. We're not talking about. We're not. This is a joke, by the way, but I had to preface by saying that. But we're not talking about older lands. We're talking about Borderlands, the games.
I have it on console.
Yeah, I think a lot of people though, like a good portion, about 90 something% of the comments I've seen on multiple websites are all agreeing with the same thing about the acting choice, which would be another great thing to talk about on the next Azure Infinitum podcast. Yeah, Halo, custom Halo games, Overwatch 2, Borderlands. I'm seeing a lot of good ideas. Wonderlands, all of that. Very good ideas, little things like that. And we need you guys. We need our community to mention these things like amongst the community. Like start talking in FC chat one day. Hey guys, who would like to do this sometime? And it might be even just a name or two that pops up that could be interested. That would also make this thing have more people coming into it. So we can get excited as a community and be like, yeah, let's find more stuff to do. Like, hey guys, we're beyond the FC. Like, even though we've been beyond the FC for a long time, it's just that I think we're so 14 focused that it's like we don't realize that we have good friends here that we would love to see and do things in other games and other content as well, and even just chatting.
I have plenty of games. So if I have it, I will play it with you.
Oh yeah, Bricks. We'll have to have you on the episode when we talk about Borderlands. Then when we reboot the podcast soon, we'll do that. Vesh is requesting here. Hey, welcome back to the stage, Vesh. You're muted currently, Vesh.
Okay, there we go.
There we go.
Sorry.
No worries.
I was gonna say along with what was like right above what she posted too, like within not necessarily the welcome, but the general chat area. If we had maybe if we had like a text channel just listing like or like a text channel forum section for you know how the Discord forums work and stuff.
Mhm.
Like, hey, this game here, Borderlands series, this game here, just something like that towards the top, maybe just as a forum channel we could do to help keep things organized for non I want to say hardcore but steady content games. You know what I mean? For
Okay.
like the ideas of hey, Discord game night, hey, drinking game night, hey, forums like that
Like
to
a
like,
bulletin board in a sense,
yeah,
in the form of a
essentially like
forum.
how
Okay.
the Discord forum,
Discord forum,
the
yeah.
way it works, but like for that kind of stuff might be an easy way to organize that and have it at the top without taking up too much room
That's a
to
great
fit
idea.
all these things in here so that we can quickly, easily see them and have it there.
Okay. That's a
Something like
that's a
that.
very good idea actually. I'm surprised I didn't think of that.
I mean, Discord
Perfect
forums are
segue into your game app that you have all your games on there.
Oh yeah. There's an app I've been
I'll leave,
obsessed
I'll
with.
leave the stage real quick. My mic's loud,
Oh,
so
oh, good. There's an app since Major mentioned it. I'll just go ahead and mention it. So you guys might be wondering. There is an app I have been absolutely obsessed with, and I've only found one other thing that's kind of like this, and a few others that are like it, but not nearly as nice looking. There's an app called Stash that you can find on Android and iOS. There's a website, but you don't really join it through the website. You join it through the app, and then sometimes you can view like a. It's funny. It's way better on the mobile. Like it's a crappy version that you can view on the on the website. Sorry, Stash developers, if you hear me say that. I got to know them recently in their Discord because we were handling some like pro account issues and trying to troubleshoot it. They're kind of they're not super new, but they're newer in being more popular lately. They're kind of still getting established in some features that people wanted. But what Stash is basically a way for you to list any game you've ever played ever, going back to the very beginning of video games. It's incredible. The cover art is listed for like 99% of everything. Almost everything you can think of, even the most like obscure titles are on there. I have 3,600 games listed on mine, and out of all of them, I was only able to find one or two that were like super obscure, like Dojin games from Japan or something. It's incredible how much they have because they pull from the Internet Archive resource of games, and then they have cover art that just comes onto it naturally, where they're all the same size and they're all uniform. So there's like no real difference between systems, but you can also list what systems that you have games on. You can make organized lists and collections. Like for mine, I organized all of my digital and physical games in different categories for different per console, and you can categorize like icons for what you want. So I put icons on all of my my categories, and then it can also list what you're currently playing, and also your wish list, and also the games you've beat. And what's really cool is it updates it like a activity feed, like social media. So there's no posting like social media posting where you can just post whatever, here's my banana I ate today or whatever. But it will update in the feed what you're playing, what you've beat, and what you've wish listed. I think what you wish listed, but what you beat, what you're playing, and also it gives you a score too. So it'll score you on the games that you've listed, how many you own, and also what you're playing, what you beat, and you can also even go further to customize and add on, like here's the length of time I spent, here's the percentage of the game I beat, here's all this information that you can add onto it yourself. And what they're doing now is they're adding a new feature that automatically imports your entire Steam library, and they're working on PS4 and others soon. I've
Rabbit hole.
Yeah, it's oh my god, you could spend so much time on it if you're meticulous in listing your games and stuff in your collection like I am. I've been working on it since September, and I downloaded it in September, and it's given me a lot to do in the downtime. I just sit down at the end of the day, and I'm like, time to relax, but I don't really feel like playing a game. I'm gonna just work on my stash for a little bit, and it's so fun. I love it, and Pro is like $2.99 a month or something, or $20 a year, and you can add on additional information to your games. You can do reviews that are simple. Um, Vesh is asking to talk, or were you just asking for the link? I'll put the link in Discord here in a minute. I'll put the mobile link in off my phone. Yeah, I'll link it, and then yeah, and I would love to have like, not because I want followers, but because like I want to like see what people I know are playing and stuff like that. I would love to have you guys on there as well, like whoever wants to join it, because what's really cool about it is every game on Stash has its own page within the app, and its own reviews, its own information with screenshots, trailers, and everything you could want for having a pocket-sized encyclopedia of every. I'm talking consoles that nobody even talks about anymore, like way back stuff with like weird code names and everything. Like there's consoles on there I haven't even heard of. Like it's crazy. I'm amazed by it, and it's the best one I've ever seen as far as any game archival type tool. And then you get statistics too. Like it'll show you like how many genre of this you have. Like what your ultimate genres are and what's the ratings that you normally give things. It starts telling you all this information about the games you play, and it's really 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 neat. So they have a Discord and a Twitter community because Twitter has this new community feature. But their Discord is really cool, and the developers of it are like super down to earth, and they'll chat with you and take suggestions. And then the other nice thing too is if you like Humble Bundle, which is the service that you can pay for like bundles of games that where the money goes to charities. The app is partnered with Humble Bundle, so it'll actually notify you when there's a new bundle, and if like it's a type of bundle that you might be interested in, you can check it out straight off the app. Yeah, there it is. Vesh just linked it. Yep, you got to it. No, sorry, Aria linked it. My bad. Aria linked it, and that's the one. That is the one. The yellow Stash, stash. I love it so much, so much, and I am Hikaru Kazushime on there too, so pretty easy to find. Um, it's really really neat because it'll show like followers, games played, games beat, etc. I am rank like 59 or 60 on there. I made it to the top 100 recently with my collection, and I've got like even more stuff to add, but it's pretty cool. There's even obscure mobile games, like everything you could think of is on there. It's incredible. A lot of it, I think the one drawback for some people might be the fact that you have to personally enter the information yourself. Except for, like I said, there's a Steam import that they're working on. But if you're kind of like an understanding user and you know that like they're still working on some features, you can just kind of like be patient or talk to them about it in their Discord. It's really cool how down to earth they are, how attentive they are to their users. But Stash Video Game Manager is awesome. I love it so much. Um, yeah, auto enter old school info. Yeah, so for retro games, yeah, it will be something you have to automatically enter yourself. Now, recently I tried another app called GOG Galaxy for GOG, which is interesting because GOG Galaxy is only on. I haven't found a mobile app unless it's on iOS because I don't use iOS. But GOG Galaxy is similar. However, it is so much less. There's so many less features and so much less information on GOG Galaxy than there is on Stash. And there's already games I ran into on GOG Galaxy that they did not have on Stash. I mean that they did not have on GOG Galaxy that they had on Stash. So Stash is like my number one recommendation right now for game archiving. Highly recommend it. Give it a shot. Try it out. Even without Pro, it's like amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And it helps too if you go to list a game and you're like, I wish I could list all my versions of this game. Literally, like DLC, everything you could think of is on there. Like you can, even if you're not using it just to archive your stuff, if you're using it to discover games, when there's like a state of play or a like a big game conference or something, they'll actually put categories on the homepage of all the games talked about at those conference, and you can like wish list them immediately. There's links to stores for everything want to buy. It's related to whatever game, which versions of it and stuff like that. So it's really cool. So if you're like, I got the collector's edition and I want to list that instead of my normal edition, you can do that. And then if there's a game that's not listed, check this out. You can actually add it to their archive very easily. I did that with one game that was a Hironobu Sakaguchi game that a lot of people don't know about called Party Wave, which is kind of a silly game. But Sakaguchi, the father of Final Fantasy, is a very big fan of surfing. And he lived in Hawaii for a while, and he developed this game with Mistwalker, the company that he made after leaving Square Enix, called Party Wave. It was a surfing game, and it was not listed on Stash. And so what I did was I went through the proper channels to add it in there, throw some screenshots up, and made a page for it. So I'm the one that added Party Wave to Stash. But it's cool because if you do run into a game that you can't find, then you can add it. So I love this thing so much. Yeah, and yeah, you're right about GOG Galaxy. It has potential and could have been better. if it had a better mobile app, or if it had more ways you could add stuff in and show other friends. It's kind of hard to find people sometimes too on there. And I don't think you can add random people. I think it's only like your friends list, so it kind of makes it hard to discover folks through there. At least with my time using it. But Stash is awesome. Love Stash. Yeah. Yeah, the guy who made FF1 was also a D&D fan, which is what he basically. Yeah, yeah. Final Fantasy got so much inspiration from D&D. Okay, so we rambled a bit about Stash, but any last thoughts, questions, comments, concerns, ideas, proposals? Um, Folks are welcome to DM me, Major, Terry, or Stefan anytime. Um, yeah, D&D group has been talked about before. I do see we have some comments in the chat too. Yep, D&D. We had a D&D channel for a short time, and then it just didn't get used. Plus, we had a tabletop game, an area that was it was called Games Other, and it was used like to talk about like Warhammer or tabletop games. But like we have Game Chat, which kind of covers all that. But if there are, like I said, just like with our other LFG type stuff we were talking about, if we actually have folks that are really interested in hosting something that other people are interested in too, and there's other people, more than two or three or five, a chunk that want to start something of that magnitude, go for it, go for it. We have all the services possible to kind of provide stuff like that. It just, so as long as there's folks wanting to do it. All right. Unless there's any other final comments in game or in the Grand Assembly chat here, Vesh is requesting to speak.
Since
Welcome
I'm
back.
seeing at least Brixby showing interest, I assume that means Arya, and there's possibly others. Like I love being a player, but I've also DM'd. I've played since I was younger than 2 years old.
Mhm.
One of my very first memories is my dad hosting a game for my oldest brother and his friends, and me sitting as a young kid at the table playing. I have played D&D my whole life. I love the game. I've got the experience DMing. So if anybody here, like Brixby and them, would like to do a Discord group or something, and we can figure something out, I definitely would love to hear about it, and maybe we could talk about it and get something going. Whether it's me hosting or if it's somebody else that wants to DM, whatever the case may be, I would love it. I just wanted to put that out there. So, off the stage.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. And let's see. I see some more text comments here. Okay. Yep, Critical Role, definitely a fun watch. All right, you guys. I think that is it for our Azure Grand Assembly, February 2024. I appreciate those who came up to the stage, and also those who commented their feedback and comments and such in chats as well. So if you guys really like this format, we're going to go ahead and keep doing it. And I think it gave us a chance to kind of get like a lot of information out within the 2-hour time span, roughly a little bit over, with Q&A. But thank you very much for coming. Thank you for coming and enjoying what we put together here. We're going to continue to do this monthly. Sorry we didn't do one in January. We were kind of figuring this out, and then we kind of wanted to take a little time from the holidays and the New Year's and such to kind of start working on the Ascension post that we posted a few weeks ago, and get that out so that we would have a lot to, some real meat to talk about here for the assembly. So thank you guys so much. There will be a recording of this up on YouTube pretty soon, pretty ASAP. As soon as we can get that just kind of organized and uploaded. Maybe tomorrow. We'll see. We'll see. It'll be soon. And then we'll make another announcement of that as well. I'm sure there's lots of folks here that are listening later on YouTube, and we appreciate you for checking in on our YouTube channel as well. Don't forget you can follow us across all of Azure Media, which covers a wide list of social media that's very popular for updates, community content, and more. And you can find those links on our directory at azureinfinitum.com, as well as the directory in Discord towards the bottom of the server list, as well as pinned on our Azure Twitter. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Major, for joining me here from the council. And I hope you guys have a lovely day, and thank you for listening to our log as well. As free as the Azure sky.